Another fantastic episode. Everyday Normal Person's Podcast. Salt to the streets. Upper left or the upper left? Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve.
We'll turn on our mic audio and the desktop audio, and we're gonna definitely readjust your picture here because I don't see you. Hey.
Good evening from Belmont
Boom.
University
Shit,
in
it's
Nashville,
time.
Tennessee.
Here
I'm
it is.
Kristen Welker of NBC News, and I
Who's ready for
welcome
this,
you
man?
to the final 2020
I know I'm not.
presidential
Are we
debate
live right now?
between
Yeah.
President
Okay.
Donald J.
Well,
Trump and former
this
Vice
is it.
President Joe Biden.
We are,
Tonight's debate
obviously,
is
this is the
sponsored
president
by the
debate.
Commission
Salt
on
of the Streets,
Presidential
Donovan,
Debates.
Colin.
Woo!
So watching our
Other
Facebook at Salt of the
health
Streets.
and safety protocols designed by the
We are going to be talking about this. We're going to be listening to it.
The
Then we're going to turn the
audience here in
volume down, and
hall
we're going to
has
talk, and then we're going to go back to it. We're going to do stuff like that.
promised
So
to
you're going to
remain
hear
silent. No cheers or
our
other
takes. It's
interruptions,
uncut, obviously.
except
It's live right now.
now,
So
as we welcome
thank
to
you,
the
everybody,
stage
for joining
former
us.
Vice President Joe Biden and
And that is it. We're going to do our
Donald J.
best to
Trump.
keep track of the comments and everything. Do you still have Facebook app on your phone?
Got
that
the
we can-
Facebook. I got the
Cool.
Facebook Live thing open. over
Okay,
here.
cool. I wasn't sure. I don't know. You're so much smarter than me. I don't know what you can see, or if like this is all you see, or what. Yeah. So this is it. Obviously, I just want to thank everybody for joining us.
Word.
Yeah, we're just waiting for it. We're gonna
Look
get
at
to
them
it.
coming out here.
They look like they might be a little bit farther apart than last time.
And I do
There's
wanna
no
say a very
plexiglass.
good
No
evening
plexiglass.
to
So,
both of you. This
that's
debate will
strange.
cover 6 major topics.
Six
At the
topics.
beginning of each section, each candidate
Foreign
will have
policy
2
won't be
minutes
one of them.
uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their
Right.
turn to answer. And the
Remember
commission
that
will
they're
turn it
muting
off
microphones
exactly
this time
when the 2
around
minutes
because
have
of what a
expired.
shit show it was the
After
first
that,
time.
both microphones will
And oh
remain
boy,
on.
was it a shit
But
show.
on behalf of the voters, I'm going to
I'm gonna
ask
adjust
you
your
to
camera a little
please
bit more.
speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say. And so with that, if you're ready, let's start. And we will begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first
Rona.
question is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific.
Yeah.
How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
So, as you know,
The hair.
2.2 million people
Immaculate.
modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest
Again, that was
economy
if
in the
we did
world in
absolutely
order to
nothing
fight
at all.
This
Yeah.
horrible disease
That was like
came
the worst
from
case.
China.
Right.
It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess
Not wrong,
mortality
right?
I'm
rate
not up
is
to
way
date on the
down and
numbers
much
of this.
lower
I
than
can't keep
almost
track of
any
it
other
anymore.
country.
Well, the numbers
And
are
we're
tough, but
fighting
I've
it,
always
we're
I've been
fighting it
hearing
hard.
it at
There was a
least,
spike. There
which
was a
is
spike in
a
Florida,
thing.
and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone.
It's a breakout
And
of the
there
Tennessee
are some
Titans.
spikes and
Seems to be
surges
handled.
in other places.
Thank-
they will
thank
soon
goodness.
be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is
Operation
the
Warp
military is
Speed.
going
Sick
to
name.
distribute the vaccine.
is.
I can tell you from personal experience that I
don't know
was
if
in
you
the
can see this real
hospital.
quick,
I
though.
had it, and I got better. And I will tell
That's what we
you
look
that
like.
Wow.
I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it
therapeutic?
was a cure. But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast. so I
Nobody
wouldn't
would call
be
it
here
a cure.
tonight.
Nah.
And now they say I'm immune, whether it's 4 months or a lifetime.
Oh, they
Nobody's
say
been
it.
able to say that, but
I'm immune.
I'm immune. More and more people.
Nobody's been
are
able to say that, but he's
Nobody.
immune.
We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem.
And they just
But I've been
had, there was somebody
congratulated by the heads
in
of many
Washington
countries
that
on what we've
caught
been
it a
able to
second
do.
time, right?
With
I believe it
if-
was in
if
here,
you
yeah.
take a look
I
at
know
what
somebody
we've
did
done
for
in
sure.
terms of
So-
Yeah.
goggles and masks,
Goggles.
and gowns, and everything else, and in particular ventilators. We're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month. distributing them all over the world.
didn't think we needed
It will go
ventilators
away.
anymore.
I was gonna
And
say,
as I
do you
we're
remember
rounding the
learning
turn, we're rounding the
that
corner. It's
if you
going
go on
away.
a ventilator, you're
Okay,
pretty much
former
going
Vice
to die?
President Biden,
Yeah.
to you,
That's-
how would you lead
but
the country
remdesivir
out
now
of this
apparently
crisis?
is
You have 2
helped that
minutes
it's like
uninterrupted.
1 in 3.
220,000 Americans dead. I
He
hear
didn't say
nothing
million this
else
time.
I say tonight. Hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where
Can't
there are
blame the
1,000
president for that.
deaths
No.
a day now. 1,000 deaths a day.
It's not like Lord
And there are
Emperor.
over 70,000 new cases
Not when
per
so
day.
much stuff was done on it on a
Compared
like state
to
by state basis.
what's going on
you know?
in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a
You
very
can't.
low
Okay, you
rate.
can't.
We're starting from a very
Turn
high
this down
rate.
just a little bit
The
because I want to make this
expectation is
point. I don't
we'll
want to
have
interrupt him,
another
but I want to make this point.
200,000
You cannot, as
Americans
Joe
dead
Biden, make the argument
by
that
the
there
time
was
that
an
you're now the end of the
inadequate
year. We just
strategy
wore
and he
these
did
masks
nothing, but then
as its
also
own
blame
advisory
everything on
tool.
him. Like I just don't
Save
see how that's unless you're saying that everything is
100,000
his fault
And we're in a
because he did
circumstance
nothing.
where the
But that
president
doesn't.
thus far
It's not like nothing
still
happened.
has
Like
no
in the wake
plan,
of President Trump
no
doing nothing,
comprehensive plan.
right? Because
What I would do is
there were
make
limited
sure we
things done in the
have
beginning that we talked
everyone
about, but
encouraged
in the
to
wake of
wear a
that,
mask
every
all
state
the
handled
time. I
things
would make
individually,
sure
and
we
then
move in the
the
direction of
response
rapid
and
testing, investing
the
in
effect of the
rapid
virus
testing.
after
I would
that
make sure
varied
that
state to
we
state.
set up
I
national
don't
standards
understand
of
that
how to
argument.
open
That's
up
inconsistent as
schools
fuck.
and
It's
open
just
up
the fact
businesses
that
so
we
they
all
can be safe.
forgot what federalism
Give them
is,
the wherewithal,
Donovan.
the
And we all
financial
forgot how this
resources
whole
to
thing
be
works.
able to do
So
that.
Larry jumped in
We're
here.
a
He says,
situation now
how
where
have we not talked
the
about
New England
foreign
Medical
policy,
Journal,
but
one of the
coronavirus
most
twice?
serious journals in the-
That's
in the
because
whole
we're not
world.
going to talk
It's
about
the
foreign
first
policy,
2 minutes,
apparently.
and no,
That
there's
this-
no
the
way,
way this
especially
president has
not having
responded
to
to
do
this
with
crisis
like
has
the
been
Soviet
absolutely
countries or
tragic.
like any of that
So,
shit.
folks,
Yeah.
I will take care of this.
Ex-Soviet
I will
countries,
end
Soviet
this.
bloc
I will make
countries is
sure
what I was
we
looking
have a
for.
plan.
Excuse me.
President Trump, I'd like to follow up with you and your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said
Regeneron.
a vaccine will be coming within
That sounds like
weeks.
it's going to make you a
Is
superhero.
that
Sounds
a
strong.
guarantee? Is
Weeks?
No, it's not a guarantee, but
Yeah,
it will
okay.
be by the end of the year. But I
That's
think it
his,
has a
will
good
be
By
done
the
by
end of
Easter,
the
right?
year.
I think within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell
I
us
did
which
see that they
companies?
had a
Johnson and
like
Johnson is
a
doing
release
very
plan
well. Moderna is
out.
doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well, and we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, and because this is new information,
Camera
you have
quality
said a
is
vaccine
amazing.
is coming
Isn't
soon,
it?
within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take
hope so,
well
with
into
their budgets.
2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
Oh,
No,
That's
I think
a
my
long
timeline's
time,
going
man.
to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military. the
Chris
way I
Hammond
do,
says,
but we have
"Dude,
our
Donovan, I
generals
love
lined
that
up, one in
stash."
particular, that's the
Thank you,
head of
sir.
logistics.
Shout out Chris Hammond.
And this is a very easy
It
distribution
is quite the
for
lovely
him.
stash.
Jordan
Ready
told
to
me
go as
today
soon
that
as we
she
have the
thinks she
vaccine.
might prefer
And
stash
we
over
expect
no
to have
stash,
100
and I was like,
million
I can't believe
vials
that you
as
just
soon
said
as
that.
we
to
have
me.
the
I'm on.
vaccine.
I'm
he's
on
ready
board
to
the
go.
stash train.
Vice President
don't
Biden,
hate
your
it. This
reaction
time around, I
just
definitely
40%
don't hate it.
It's
of
strong this
Americans
year,
say
bro.
they
So
would
weird.
definitely
I could tell
you had a
take
child
the
this year.
coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine? if
Okay,
it
here
were
we go.
approved?
The
Make sure
Maybe
it's totally
quit, like have your vice
transparent.
president quit telling
Have the
people to not
scientists
take it.
will see it,
Yeah.
know it, look at it, go through all the processes.
Third-party
And by the
verification.
way,
That's what he's
this
talking
is the
about.
same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow
Oh,
who
shit, did
told
I
you
just say that? My
Don't
bad.
worry, we're going to end this by the
gave
summer.
him the
We're
idea.
about to go into a dark winter.
Dark
Dark
winter.
winter. And he
Winter's
has no
coming.
clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction,
Ooh, no
he says
guarantee.
you
I don't
have no
think we're going to
plan.
have a dark winter at all. We're opening up our country.
Oh, it's gonna be
We've
a-
learned and
it's gonna be
studied
a
and
light
understand
winter.
the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's
I don't
saying,
know
"Oh,
about months
I
later he
should've,
was
I
saying that,
should've,
but certainly
you know,
when the
moved
decision
quicker."
was because
When it was
this is-
happening.
yeah,
He
certainly
was
because this has
months
been
behind
disputed
me.
every time.
Many
Certainly
months behind
when
me.
President Trump
And frankly,
closed
he ran the
the
H1
travel to
N1
China,
swine flu, and it
Joe
was a total
Biden did at
disaster
that
for
time
all
make
of
the
us,
argument. He
lethal.
was not the argument, but he was saying that it was xenophobic, just
Yeah.
like so many other Democrats at the time were. That
Oh,
is
so
the
many.
truth.
All the all-stars were. You know, Nancy Pelosi and
the
Chuck
All-Stars.
Schumer all the way up.
Right,
Yes.
yeah. But it was a far less lethal disease. Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know,
Bringing up the
was
swine
his,
flu, though, when you're
chief
talking
of
about
staff,
coronavirus, it's,
said
I think,
It
a
was
really bad
catastrophic.
tactic as
It
far
was
as
horrible. We didn't know what we
debate
were
goes.
doing.
They're
Now
just not the
he comes
same.
up and he tells us how to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down.
Oh!
access.
Whoa!
He did
Shots
say that
fired,
other
man.
countries had already done that. In
He
addition
is
to that,
xenophobic,
we
straight
made
up.
Sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan.
Oh, my
to
God.
determine
Now he's
what
saying that he
exactly the
should have
source
done
was.
it.
What did the president
Yeah.
say in January? He said no. He said he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have
President
to
Trump
thank
also
him.
did say that.
And,
He
and
did.
then what
He
happened?
did.
Was
That's a
we started
thing.
talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious
also say
scientist in the
that.
world
Yeah.
who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your
I
reaction?
say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock
have
ourselves.
no
in the
choice.
What's this woman's
basement
name?
like
Do you know?
Joe
Miss
does.
This is
Welker.
He has
Kristen
he has
Welker.
the ability
She's
to
from,
lock
NBC.
himself up. I
Much
don't know.
better
He's
job.
obviously made a lot
Well,
of
you
money
know, they got the
someplace,
mute button. That's
but he has
helpful.
this thing about living in a basement.
And it's early.
People
Let's
can't
not
do
forget
that.
it's
Yeah, I'd
early.
be
By the way,
interested to
I,
see
as
how
the
she
president,
did
couldn't do
in
that. I'd love
Chris
to put
Wallace's
myself in the
shoes the last
basement
time
or in a
around.
beautiful room
Yeah.
in the White House.
I don't
and
know
go
that
away
anybody
for a
could
year
handle
and a half
that.
until it
No,
disappears.
there was no handling
I
nothing,
can't
man.
do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had.
The
every
follow-up
meeting I
question
had,
needs
and
to
I'd meet
be,
a lot of
what
families,
would
including
you
Gold
do
Star
different?
families and military families.
Yeah, Larry,
Every
that's
meeting I had, and
yeah,
I had to meet
100%.
them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said,
Yes,
this is
because
dangerous.
I agree,
And
Larry, because
you
at this
catch
point
it, and,
they're
I
just,
caught
they've
it.
gone back
I
and forth
learned
like
a
4
lot.
times, I think,
I
saying, well,
learned
he
a
didn't
lot.
do this.
Great
Well, he did, but then
doctors,
it was
great
just later,
hospitals.
and then them
And
responding
now
and
I
saying the same
recovered.
thing. Well, I did do that just later.
99.9 of young people recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close
I mean, I
up
don't know
our
if those
nation. We have
stats are
to
actually
open our
right,
school,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
and we
real.
can't close up our nation, or you're
a
not
lot
going
of
to have
most
a
Of
nation.
most
And of
people
course,
are
the
okay.
CDC has
Yeah.
said
Right,
young
that's
people
like
can get
vast
sick
majority.
with COVID-19
Yeah.
and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to talk broadly about strategy, though. You have
strategy?
Respond to that.
30 seconds, please, and then
30
I have a
seconds.
question.
No, number one. He says
Number one.
that we're,
It's all about.
we're learning to
number
live with
one.
it.
Number two.
People
number
are
three.
learning to die with it.
Ooh.
You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on.
Shit's
We're
true, though.
dying with it.
A lot of people
Because
did
he's
die.
Never
A lot of
said,
people are
he
dying.
said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say,
What?
I take no responsibility.
Let me talk about your two.
Excuse me, I take
very
full
I
responsibility.
got lost a little bit on that one.
It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not
China.
Joe's fault that he came here either. It's China's fault. They kept it from going into the rest of China for the most part, but they didn't keep it from
Yeah, they
coming
did.
out to the world,
Like,
including
well,
Europe
they
and
did.
This is
ourselves.
true. We've,
Welded in
we've
shit.
talked about this
Fact
in depth
is
on this
that
podcast.
when we knew
That
it
is
was
a
coming,
fact.
When
Yeah.
it hit, what happened? What did the president say? He said, "Don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry."
Did say that. Did say
He
that.
inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that. But a lot of people thought
These
it was
guys are
serious.
just laying out the
I'm
facts
sick
on
of
each
it.
other.
I don't know. I even listened to him talk
He
about
thinks
like
we
the
are
light
in
and the
control.
antiseptic, and I'm
We're
like,
about
I
to
don't
lose
know, dude. I
200,000
don't.
more people.
He wasn't really
Trump.
telling people to inject bleach.
perhaps
I know
just to
he
finish
did
this.
say
Yeah,
something
he
that was
did- he did
really
say it.
stupid and
But
backwards,
just to
but
finish this.
I know that's not what he said.
When I closed,
He ain't doing that.
he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months. What Nancy Pelosi
right,
said.
enough
the same
with this
thing.
Yeah,
She was
topic.
petty
dancing on the
guys, wrap it
streets of
up.
Chinatown
Let's do
in
this
San
thing. We
Francisco.
got shit to do here.
But when I closed, he said, "This is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic." I think he called me racist even, and because
was
I was
last
closing
debate.
into
Don't-
China.
not-
now
don't
he
get
says I
confused.
should have closed earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You
Joe.
certainly
That's
did.
bullshit.
Oh!
He 1,000%
I talked
called
about
him
his xenophobia
xenophobic.
in a different context. It wasn't about
Bullshit.
You
borders.
just said it,
Bullshit.
bro. He's like, yeah, he is
All right,
xenophobic.
I want to talk
That's
about
a
both
lie.
of your different
That's not
strategies
true.
to handle
He
this.
thought I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well, let's-
Oh, look at her. She's like, whoa,
Do you want to
whoa.
respond to that quickly, Vice President
No.
Biden? Okay.
No.
Let's move
talk
on,
about your
please.
different
Yes.
strategies
Come
for
on.
dealing with this. Mr. Vice President,
Oh,
you suggested
we're
you
still
would
getting
support new
strategies.
shutdowns if scientists
God damn
recommended
it. Enough with the
What do you say to
coronavirus.
Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus?
What I would say is, I'm gonna
His
shut
best
down the
answer could
virus,
be,
not the
I'm going to
country.
kick Nancy
It's
Pelosi
his
the fuck out of that
ineptitude
chair
to
and
cause
get somebody else in there
the company
so
to have
that
to
something
shut
can
down in
actually be
large
done
part.
because
Why
this
businesses
is
have gone under,
nonsense.
why schools have closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's
That's
why
'cause our
he should
democratically
have been,
led
instead of
states
in a
have shut
sand
our
trap at his
fucking
golf course, he
economies
should have
off,
been
dude.
negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans
Definitely
about
can't
what
blame
to
the
do
president for
about
closing down the
acts they
country.
were passing
That's,
No.
for billions of dollars to make sure
Thank
people
God we
had the
never actually
capacity.
crossed that
You
line.
haven't
Yeah.
ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the NATE, but there are, look.
No, he's not shutting down the
you need
NATE.
standards. The standard
The
is
NATE.
if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level,
Close the
everybody
town
says,
down.
Slow up.
Slow up.
More social distancing. Do not open bars and do
Look
not
at
open
dude, he's
gymnasiums.
dying.
Do not open
And
until
Trump
you get
is
this under
dying to
control,
just, like,
under
go
management
to say
control.
so.
Just
But when you
spoiling.
do open,
Look at him, he's
give
cooking.
people the
Ooh, he's
capacity
cooking.
to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's like,
Schools, they need
what?
a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation.
Then
systems.
tell
They need to deal with
Pelosi to
smaller
pass a
classes,
goddamn
more
bill.
teachers, more pods.
We went over
And
this like
he
3
has
episodes
to
ago.
support
This
that money, or at least
anybody
up to
blaming
now.
President
Let's
Trump
talk
for
about
a bill
schools.
not being
President,
passed,
I think
we have
it's
to
bullshit.
respond,
This is
And then I have a
a
follow-up.
nonsense
Thank you. I
argument. It's
100%.
when. And again, it's not a perfect bill, but even other Democrats have made this argument when the Republicans walked out with $1.8 trillion and we're like, please, take this goddamn bill, and you say, eat my dick because that's not good enough. Can you really still continue to blame the president? I said this a month and a half ago, and I'll own it now. I will put every dollar I have. If any bipartisan coronavirus stimulus package hits Donald Trump's desk, he will sign it. He
100%.
will not veto it. You have got me fucked up.
He offered him more. He said it the other day. He wanted more. I mean, I'll do more money.
Yeah.
I guess it's their immune
But-
system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump. You've demanded schools open in person
Yeah,
and
we'll save that
insist
for
they
later.
can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston
This is new.
became
It's a
the
different
latest
balance.
city
It's
to
fun.
move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids but also their teachers and families?
I want to open the schools. The
I did hear on
transmittal
NPR
rate
we have
to
hella
the
teachers in the
teachers is,
state that have picked up
very
COVID
small,
since school started
But
to
I
open.
want to
Oh, I'm
open
sure.
the schools. We have to open our
70-something
country.
teachers.
We're not going to have a country.
But I guess
we
in
can't
across
do
the state,
this.
that's not
we
that
can't
many,
keep
but-
this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their
True.
jobs. They're committing
True.
suicide. There's depression,
true.
That's
alcohol,
also
drugs at a
Death
level
is
that
despair.
nobody's ever seen before.
Record highs.
There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country. You know,
Yeah, a
I've
lot
said
of
it
wife
often,
beaters
the
and
cure
shit getting,
cannot be
being
worse
forced
than
to
the
the
problem
surface
itself.
right now.
Vice
And that's
President-
what's happening. And he wants to close down.
Mostly
He'll
in LA.
close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your
Simply
response.
not true.
Simply
we ought to be able
not
to walk
true.
and chew gum at the same time. We ought to be able to safely open, but when they need resources to open. You need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if
Yeah,
you have a
super
restaurant, you
socially
need to have
distanced.
plexiglass dividers.
Your tables
so
are
people
massive. You're
cannot
hella open.
Yeah,
infect
you
one
guys
another.
are hella
You need to be in a
social
position
distance.
where you
At
can
least 60 for
take
sure.
testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make
All you
sure
8
that we
folks
open
watching the
safely.
live
And
stream,
by the
jump in the
way,
chat here.
All you teachers
Let's-
out there,
let's be talking
not that
this
many of
stuff.
you are going to die. So
Yeah,
don't
any
worry
questions
about
and anything, hit
it.
us
So don't
up.
worry about
Absolutely.
it. Come on.
President
Come
Trump, let me
on.
follow up
Oh,
with
we
you
haven't got
quickly.
it.
By the
Come
way, I
on,
will
man,
say
yet.
this: if you go
Come
and
on,
look at
man.
what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying.
Hey, where's
these
your
are
plexiglass,
businesses
bro?
with no money.
Inslee's
Putting up
turning over in
plexiglass
his,
is
in his
unbelievably
giant
expensive.
oversized coat
And it's
tonight.
not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people. You just can't.
He
Take
is
a look
such
at
a
New York and
terrible
what's happened
arbiter
to
for,
my
like,
wonderful city.
the
for-
reopen the
for so
countryside
many
of the
years. I
argument.
loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's
so
leaving
terrible.
New York.
Take a
I
look
can't.
at
Vice
what
President
New
Biden.
York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the states that are
Mark,
having
Joe.
such a spike in the coronavirus.
Blue states.
They're the red states.
Oh, now.
They're the states
Yeah,
in the
second wave.
Midwest. They're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike
At
is
first it was
occurring
all
significantly.
blue states.
But they're all Americans.
Mind you, the blue
All
states are
Americans.
basically just
And
the
what we have
biggest
to do is say,
concentration of
wear
cities.
these masks,
Right.
number one.
I think
Make
that's more the
sure
real
we get the
factor.
help that the businesses need, that has money's already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the
Look at
summer,
his eyes, man.
and nothing's
wow,
happened.
that's wild.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
when you
about-
say spike, take a look at what's happening
The
in
hand
Pennsylvania,
that
where
goes
they've had
out to
a case.
shush
Take a
the
look at
moderator.
what's
No,
happening
it's-
with your
Shush,
friend
shush.
in Michigan, where her husband's
did
the
you
only
see my
one
60
allowed to
Minutes?
do
I will
anything.
walk the
It's
fuck
been
out.
like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina.
That's the
They're
thing,
having
you know?
spikes, and they've been closed. And they're getting killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease.
You,
we have to
as the-
protect
as
our
the
seniors. We
executive,
have to
though,
protect
cannot
our
force
elderly.
a state
We have
to open up.
protect
If they're gonna
especially
open
our
up under
seniors
their own
with
will,
heart
that is
problems
what
and
they are going to do.
diabetes problems. And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world
It's the same
by
thing
far.
with Donald Trump.
That's
You
why
can't
we have
make
so
the
many
argument
cases.
for
Let me
states'
follow up
rights
with
and
you
then say
before
that
we
you're
move
gonna
on to
force
our
the
next
states
Yeah.
to
section.
do
President
things that
Trump,
the-
this week
do
you called
things that
Dr.
the
Anthony
executive branch
Fauci, the
thinks they
nation's
should do.
best known infectious disease expert,
I mean, you
quote,
can have an-
a disaster.
you can have an
described
argument
him
about
and
that.
Other medical experts as, quote,
But
idiots.
at the end of the
If
day,
you're not listening to them,
states'
who
rights,
are you
baby.
listening
Yeah.
to as you
Let me,
fight this?
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony.
I just
But
mean
Oh,
it's I just
we
mean
love
it's
the
an
Fauci.
inconsistent
Say,
argument is
don't
all
wear a
to
mask.
say that
He
everybody
did
that they
say,
should do what they want
as
and
you
then,
know,
and then to try and
this
force
is
them to
not
do
going
that.
to be a problem. I think he's a
You're going to
Democrat,
lose
but
your
that's
smarter
okay. He said, "This is
constituents
not
that
going
way
to
that
be
are
a
like,
problem."
wait,
Not gonna be a problem at all.
Like, wait,
When Joe
there's a
said-
problem
Massive
here.
gap in the
I
logic
said,
there,
Yeah.
guys.
Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others.
Oh, the
and I'm not
Fauci.
knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was.
It's like the
We've
people
learned a lot.
who say
But
they like
Anthony
Trump
said, "Don't
because of
wear
his views
masks."
on the
Now he
Second
wants to
Amendment,
wear
and you're
masks.
like, but
Anthony
there are
also
more
said,
gun
if you look
laws
back, exact
under Trump
words,
than there
use
were
his
under
exact
Barack
words.
Obama.
Weird.
So what are
This is
you
no problem.
talking
This
about?
is going to go
Yeah.
away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes.
More
He
things
happens
have
to be a
been
good
taken
person.
away as far
Vice
as gun
President
ownership
Biden, your
under Trump
response
than
quickly,
they
and then
have
we're gonna
under
move on to
Obama. So what the fuck are
Response
you
is
talking
that
about?
Think about what the president knew in January and didn't tell the American people.
Oh,
He was told this was a serious virus.
He's got a good point there, man.
And it was
Yes.
much
That's-
worse.
that's the
than,
thing.
Much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded, that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us. Americans don't panic. He
Oh,
panicked.
dog.
But
We
guess
can
what?
panic if you want us
In
to,
the meantime,
Joe.
we find out in the New York Times
It
the
got
other day
pretty
that,
bad
in
anyway,
fact,
man.
His folks went to Wall Street and said this
Yeah,
is a
you
really
know,
dangerous
just
thing.
look around.
And a memo out of that meeting.
We ain't
not
that
from
calm.
his administration, but from some of the brokers
feel
said,
like
sell short because we got to
At
get
the
moving.
time, everyone was
It's a
like, "This
dangerous
guy's
proposition.
lying. He lies about everything
30
anyway."
seconds to
So
respond, and then we're
The
going
Wall
to
Street
move
went
on.
to- somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't
Oh,
Oh,
raised
bang,
a lot of money.
bang! That's true.
Tremendous
That's
amount.
true
so
as
many
fuck.
Every time
donations
you
from
raise
Wall
money,
Street.
Deals are made, Joe. I could raise so much
T-Dog's
more money
basically broke
as
at this point,
president
as
and
far
somebody
as
that knows most of
presidential
those
campaigns are
people.
concerned.
I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in
He was
America.
campaigning
I would
essentially
blow
as
away
soon as he
every
became
record, but
president,
I don't
just
want to
raising
do that
money.
Yeah.
because it puts me in a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street.
See, now
because
he's
you're the one that
financially
takes
making
all
up
the
the
You shouldn't be
calculation.
bringing up Wall Street.
I
shouldn't be
I
doing
could
that.
blow away your records
Oh,
that, like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny
He's like,
fraction
oh,
of the money
don't
that she was
softball him in
Gentlemen,
like that.
we're gonna
Don't
move
tell me
on.
He
about
did
Wall
say,
Street.
okay, turn this down real quick, because
$43.
All right, we're
during
going to move
Joe
on to our
Biden's
next section, which is national
town hall,
security.
right?
And I do want to start with the security of
he
our
was
elections.
talking
and some
about
breaking
somebody
news
asked
from
him how
overnight.
to
Just
like
last night,
fix political division. You know, like what are we going to do about political division? It's like we need to go back to the way the politics used to be. When somebody introduced something, you question their judgment, but not their intentions. He says when you put together like his example was a fucking infrastructure package, right?
Infrastructure
He's going to
week.
team up with somebody. He said infrastructure package. Said, oh, but you're in bed with the concrete industry. How do you feel about that? So hold the fuck on. You're telling me as Joe Biden, your view is if somebody is being paid millions and millions and millions of dollars by private industry, that they're going to benefit from passing a certain bill. We shouldn't talk about that. It's not something we should discuss because it's fucking divisive. That's what your view is. Swear to God he said it. Go back and fucking look. It's real. I swear to God, that's what he said. That is dark, bro.
Super dark.
In a world where where Patrick Leahy's always out here and he's like fucking dark money, dark money, all of the time. He said the charts out in the last, like in the Coney Barrett hearings and the scheme. You know
All
what I'm
the dark
saying?
money.
Come on, dog.
And I don't know what
Sorry, but I can't. Like, that's a crazy view.
My guess is
So-
he's probably
so
been more
crazy.
outspoken with regard to the Iranians.
We have had a
But the
flu
point is
vaccine
this,
for what,
folks.
over 90
We are in a
years?
situation
Long
Do
where
they
time.
we
really
have
think
foreign
we are going
companies,
to have a
countries
COVID
trying to
vaccine that
interfere in the
actually
outcome of our
works?
election.
Who said that?
His
This is
own
Caleb.
national
The
security
flu
advisor
kills
told
more
him
people
that
per year
what
than
is
this COVID
happening
shit
with his
has.
buddy-
And
well,
for one,
well,
I'm done
well,
having to wear a
his
mask.
buddy, Rudy
They
Giuliani, he's
do
being
nothing
used
for
as a Russian
anyone,
pawn.
nothing
He's
as
being
per
fed information
what we are
that is
told
Russian-
where I work.
That is not true.
Oh, word.
And
Okay,
then
so
what
if
happens?
we take the
Nothing
number
happens.
of
And then you
people, of
find
like
out that
the reported number,
everything
right,
that's
which
going
I
on
don't
here,
personally accept
Russia
as
is
far as
wanting to
deaths,
make
because like I said,
sure
I know there
that
are
I
people
do
that are
not
grouped in
get
there that
elected to
they
make
said in the
president
very
of the
beginning,
United States
but
because I know
even
that
now, this year, more
they
people have died from
know
coronavirus
me.
than have died from the
I
flu.
don't
Oh, word.
understand why
So,
this president
word.
Like,
is
I
unwilling
hear
to
you.
take
I
that.
also
I
don't
could
love
see-
wearing a mask, but that's not
Yeah.
a valid argument.
And I
as
could
far
see,
as,
in,
like,
because I don't think this Corona thing's going. This ain't COVID-19 ain't going anywhere.
no,
period.
and
Right?
we
It'll
also
just get a
said
little
we weren't
better.
going to take the vaccine as soon as it fucking comes out, because that's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
That's
right.
how
I'm
people
not
die.
trying to do that.
They grow fucking extra toes. They have kids with extra toes. And
I don't
shit.
want to be
That's-
a statistic,
I'm
bro.
gonna wait to find out what happens.
But I will say that I don't know if one
President
day,
Trump,
a few
same
years down the
question to you.
road,
Let me
when there
ask
is
the
like a
question.
regular
You have 2
vaccine that we
minutes to
take, like a flu
respond. Two
vaccine and
elections
shit like
in
that,
a
and
row
everything's
now, there has been
copacetic.
substantial
I don't know
increase
that the
in
deaths from
vaccine
COVID-19 necessarily
What
will
would you do
be
in your next term?
equal
Put it
to
into
or
2
lesser
minutes.
than the
Let me
flu.
Yeah. Well, and we got to wait till those are fleshed out. You
Yeah,
know what
I
I'm saying?
think
we got to
so.
wait till this
Joe got
whole,
$3.5
like, the
billion
big thing is
from
over so they
Russia.
can flesh out the
And
deaths,
it
find
came
out
through
really how
Putin
many
Word.
people
because he was very
died,
friendly with
and
the
then we'll have a
former
better
mayor
idea.
of
But
Moscow. It was
It's
the
so
mayor
hard
of
not to
Moscow's
talk
and
like
so
this,
that's
man.
I'm like,
You got
that's why I have to tell you,
$3.5
like, I don't fully
Your family
believe the
got
number, but
$3.5
going off of the
million,
number that's
and,
being
you know,
generally
someday
used,
you're gonna
more
have to
people have
explain
died from
why did you
coronavirus
get
than have died from
$3.5 I
the
never
flu.
got any money from Russia.
This year.
I don't get
This
money
year.
from Russia. Now,
And in
about
most
your
years,
thing last
you know what I'm
night, I
saying?
knew all
Yeah,
about
most
that.
years.
And
Pretty
through
soon that's going to say something
John,
about
I just
coronavirus.
mean,
John
however
Radcliffe
many people
was
have died from the
fantastic.
coronavirus is
He
more
said,
people than die
"The one
every
thing
year from the
that's
flu, is what
common
I'm
to
saying.
both of them."
And I don't
Yes.
know, like I said, I don't trust that number 100%, but that's the only one that we can really use right now is
know.
that one. So that's what I have to.
And that sucks because it's our single data point.
Yes.
But it's hard to flush out
And I
because
don't
it's
like
on a
it.
national scale.
It's like the polls.
Yeah, like the polls.
$420 billion a year. That's to guard against Russia. I sold, while he was selling
So they were
pillows
just
and
talking
sheets,
about
Yes.
this whole question. I
sold
don't know if you
tank
saw
busters
it
to Ukraine.
um,
There has
about
been
the
nobody
latest
tougher
from
on
the
Russia than
intelligence
Donald
community saying
Trump.
Iran
And
is fucking with the
I'll
election
tell you,
and
they
now
were so bad.
Russia.
They took
Sending the
over
fake emails.
Yeah.
the submarine port. You remember that very well. During your
Election
term,
interference from
during
foreign
you
countries.
and Barack Obama, they took over a big part of what should have been Ukraine. You handed it to them. But you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's even worse. All of the emails, the horrible emails.
Here
of
it
the
is.
kind of money that you
Zeke
were
asked
raking
me
in,
earlier, who
and
do you
your
think is
family.
going to bring
And Joe,
this
you
up?
were vice
President
when
Trump
some
or the
of this was
moderator? And I'm
happening.
like,
Oh,
oh, I don't
definitely
know.
Trump.
It should have never happened.
Moderator ain't
And
gonna touch
I
that with
think
10-foot
you
pole.
owe an
I wasn't sure who the
explanation to
moderator was. Or
American
if I
people.
would have known it was this
Why
woman,
is
I
it-
would have definitely
somebody
said
just
it
had a
should
news
not be her.
conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family. But what he said was
Look at
damning.
Biden. He's
And
not even looking at him.
regardless of
He's
me,
just
I think you
staring
have to
straight.
clean it up
Yeah.
and talk to the American people. Maybe you can do it right
Look at
now.
that 70-something-year-old
Maybe
Ray.
you can
President
do it
Biden
right
Oh,
now.
his shit's it's muted.
Seconds. And then I do
I-
want to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my
I
life.
don't think
We
that that's
learned
true.
This
That's not true.
president
Maybe
paid
not while he
50
was
times
VP,
the tax
but
in
maybe.
China, has
Yeah.
a secret bank
But-
account with China.
But he's been in
does
public service
business
for the
in
last like
China,
30 years.
and
So
in
30,
fact,
40 years.
40
talking
something, yeah.
about me
Yeah, so
taking
there's-
money.
But there was a
I have
small
not
gap
taken a single penny
between
from
now.
any
I mean,
country
he's not in politics now.
whatsoever.
Right,
Except he's
but
running.
but he was a
Number
senator
two,
before he
this
became
is a
vice
Yes.
president. Yeah,
I've
exactly. So,
released
but I mean, like
all of
he was
my
still
tax-
active senator and then became
22
vice
years.
president,
Go
right?
look.
Yep.
Exactly.
22
So-
years of my tax
Yeah,
return.
he's only had about
You have not
for whenever
released
Trump
a
got elected
single
till now.
solitary year of your tax return.
Bro, Bro,
What are
tax
you-
returns? Let's
Why
ask
are you
Larry, because I'm
unwilling?
pretty sure American
Foreign
tax
countries
returns
are
don't
paying
cover
you
fucking
a lot.
foreign-ass bank accounts
Russia's
that you're
paying you
hiding
a
money
lot.
in,
China's
motherfucker.
paying
Larry,
you
what do
a
you got to
lot.
say,
And
homie?
your hotels
Please,
and all your
please
businesses
inform
all
me.
around the
I'm very
country,
confused about that.
all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So
That's
what's going
probably
on here?
true.
Why
China's
don't
building
release your
roads
tax
fucking
return and
everywhere.
stop
I
talking
can't
about
say
it?
for
Belt and
sure
Road
it is,
Initiative.
but
Trump, your response.
Belt and Road
First of all,
Initiative. I'm preaching it for
I
years.
told my accountants,
my
underwrote it.
accountants.
I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to show how successful
I
how
really
great
thought
this
he was going to say something
company
good.
is. But much more importantly than that, people were saying $750. I asked them a week ago, I said, what did I pay? They said, sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid
that's
my
true.
tax.
This
Tens
is
over the
true.
last
We
6
talked
years.
about this.
Tens of millions
Larry, you can
of
weigh on this,
dollars I
weigh in on this as
prepaid.
well.
Because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have to pay
I
tax.
just remember, I get to
So
throw this up
I
on
already
YouTube
prepaid
after
it.
this.
Yeah.
Nobody told me
This
that.
is nice.
Did your
Yeah.
accountant
Nobody
tell you
told
when
you that.
Yeah, Zeke is
Excuse me.
excited.
And it wasn't written whenever they write
Oh,
this
yeah,
up. They
poor-
keep
I was
talking
gonna hit
about
him up,
750
but I know he don't
I
have
dollars,
texted
which
him
I think is
today,
a filing fee.
but
let me just tell you.
once it's
I
on YouTube,
prepaid
then he'll be able to tap
millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Number one. Number two,
This
I
is
don't make
true.
money from China.
Tim Pool
You
did a
do.
really
I
good
don't
video
make money
going
from
over this,
Ukraine.
and even said in
You
that
do.
same article
I
that
don't
alleged he
make
only
money
paid
from
$750
Russia.
that he had prepaid
You made $3.5
tens of
million
millions of dollars in
yeah?
taxes, and
And your
that's why
son
he
gave
ended
you-
up paying
they
the
even
minimum
have a
those
statement
years because he had
that
already
we have to
prepaid
give
the
10%
2 previous years, and it
to
can
the
only
big
carry
man.
over
You're
2
the big
years.
man, I think.
Larry,
I don't know,
Larry knows
maybe
what's
you're
up.
not.
Larry
But you're
definitely
the
knows
big
what's
man,
up.
I think. Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about?
Sir, I got to
It's
talk to Larry
terrible.
about
All right,
books.
gentlemen, I want to ask you both some questions
I have
about
to
all of
respond.
this.
Yeah, Larry,
I'm going to let
I'm
you
hauling
both
at you.
respond
We
very
gotta- we
quickly.
gotta talk about
you just
books.
said you
Oh,
spoke
yes.
to your accountant
Yes.
about potentially releasing
got a
your
thing going
taxes.
on.
Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you
As
have
soon
a
as the audit is
deadline for
finished.
when you're going to release
As
them?
I
soon
get
as the
treated
auditor's finished.
Worse than the Tea Party got treated.
Oh,
Because
you
I have a
don't
lot
have
of
a time.
people in there, deep
Worse
down in
than
the
the Tea Party
IRS, they
got
treat me
treated?
horribly. We made a deal, it was all settled until I decide to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly. But we had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions and millions of dollars, and
I don't know
it's
that he
worse
gets
than
treated
paying.
unfairly by the
I paid in
IRS.
advance.
Yeah, I
It's
don't-
called
I
prepaying your taxes. I paid in advance.
I want
I
to
mean,
ask
I don't know
you
if
both about
kind of like
questions
rich people that have a
regarding
shit
your
ton of money
potential
that pay
foreign
most of the
entanglements and
taxes.
questions that
I don't
have
think
been
that they
raised.
get
To
the
give
same
you both a
treatment like
chance
me and
to
you do.
talk about this
Necessarily,
more.
Filed
but-
bankruptcy
Respond
like
very
several
quickly and then
times.
we'll
Oh, word.
On purpose, like
Why
to,
did
you
Yeah.
know what I'm
He's been
saying?
saying this
And
for
the
4
IRS
years.
knows that. They know
Show
what
us.
he's up to.
Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes.
Everybody
Nobody
knows when you're in an
Mr.
audit.
President.
Not
They
everybody
do
gets
know.
audited
I
all the
love-
time,
I
you
love
rich
not
asshole.
Paying
Hands open.
Your taxes, or you're paying
Little
taxes
hands
that
open.
are so low.
Look at that face.
When last time he said what he paid,
Gosh,
he said, "I only pay that little."
America,
because
how
I'm
did we
smart.
get here?
I know how to game the system.
What is
He
wrong
did
with
say
us?
that, but
Come on, folks.
Yeah.
So
President Trump, and then I want to get to two questions.
he says
from
a
both
lot of
you.
shit. I didn't like.
I was put through a phony witch hunt
Phony.
for
Witch hunt.
3 years. It started before I even got elected. They spied
the
on my
fact that, like,
campaign.
we called it
no
a witch
president
hunt.
should ever have
There's
to go
better
through
words,
what I went
man.
through.
There's
Yeah,
better
Let me
terms.
just
witch hunt is
say
not good.
this. Mueller and 18 angry Democrats and FBI agents all over the place spent
We should do
$48
another
million.
dive into Crossfire
They went through
Hurricane, 'cause
everything
there's been
I
a lot of
had,
shady shit
including
that's
my
come
tax
out about
returns,
that since
and they
then.
found absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong. 48
We gotta have
million.
Larry on again
I guarantee
soon,
you, if
too.
I spent
Yes.
1 million on
Yes,
you, Joe,
definitely.
I could find plenty
Larry says,
wrong.
"I'm ready to
Because
talk
the
this
kind
tax
of
thing."
things that you've
This is a
done and the
deeper
kind
talk.
of
All right,
monies
well, then you
that
gotta come
your
back on the show,
family has
Holmes.
taken.
That's
I mean,
how
your
that's
brother
gonna work.
made money
Deal.
in Iraq.
Let me-
Maybe the show
millions
after
of dollars.
Halloween.
Your other brother
it's
made a
hard,
fortune,
but, you know,
and it's
I mean,
all
whatever.
Larry,
I mean, we'll figure it
and
out.
they
Consider
say
it.
you get
2
some
weeks
of
after
it,
Halloween,
and you do live
consider
very
it.
well. You have houses all
I
over
gotta
the place.
I gotta
You
talk
live
to them
very
about the
well.
All right,
required
gentlemen, let me just
reading
ask
list
some questions
of
about all of this broadly. Vice
West
President
Point.
Biden, there have been questions about
yes.
the work
They just
your
finished
son has
Starship
done
Troopers.
in
Right,
China
right,
so
right,
good.
for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Ooh.
Nothing was unethical. Here's what it is.
But was it
With
inappropriate?
regard to Ukraine,
It wasn't illegal, but it was highly
we had this whole
inappropriate.
question about whether or not, because he was on the
And
board,
I would
of
call it
engineering
unethical.
Burisma,
Yeah,
a
100%.
company, that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet
Somehow.
every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him,
Do you
that
see?
I did my
do you
job
see? And just everyone
impeccably.
pay attention
I
to the
carried out
immediate
U.S. policy.
shift.
Not
onto
one
Donald
single
Trump.
solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing. Number one.
Okay, his
Number
policy
one.
was
Two,
good.
the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe
Back
the
to Donald
Ukrainian
Trump
government
again.
to say something negative about me, which they would not
what?
do and did not do because it never, ever, ever happened. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what are you talking about? China. I have not.
That's
had it. The only
horseshit.
guy
That-
made money
I
from
don't-
China is this guy.
That's
The
not
only
true.
one.
know about
I
that.
don't know
Nobody
about
else
Donald
has
Trump's
made
money from China, but 1,000%.
President
There do with
Let me-
China.
Joe
Let me ask
Biden
my
and Hunter
question to
Biden
you.
absolutely
Just
have
one
made
thing.
Very quick.
backdoor
His son
deals with China and
didn't
got
have a
money
job
from
for a
it.
long
That's
time.
bullshit. That's a
He's
lie.
sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best not the best.
Probably good that he didn't take a
reputation
pot
in the
shot at
world.
Hunter Biden.
I hear they
Word.
paid him $183,000.
That's
a month.
strange.
Listen to this.
That's a strange use of
183,
discipline.
And they gave him a $3 million upfront
Smart.
payment.
All right.
And he had no
All right.
energy.
I'm gonna
expense.
let the
All
Vice
right.
President
That's
talk.
all
All
right.
right.
No, let him go.
Very
No
good.
Let him
basis
go.
for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Except for the
Okay,
Senate.
President Trump,
That's
this is
horseshit.
Oh.
That's
Never
bullshit.
divested
That
from
is
your business.
bullshit.
You personally promoted
The
your
Senate
properties
investigation
abroad.
said that it was
A report this
extremely
week,
inappropriate.
which was
That's
referenced,
bullshit.
does
That's a
indicate
lie.
your
That is a
company has bank
lie.
account in
It just means I
China.
didn't get in.
So
That's
how
a
do you vote
congressional
no?
lie,
You don't
bro. A
have
legislative
bank
lie.
I
That's
have many
bullshit.
bank accounts, and they're
That's
all
bullshit.
listed, and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman.
That's
doing
bullshit.
Bank
business.
accounts. What's up?
The bank account you're
Motherfuck, that's
referring to,
bullshit.
which is everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank
listed.
account was in 2013. That's when it was. It was opened it was closed in 2015, I believe.
Put the question back up,
And then I
people. Come on,
decided,
C-SPAN.
because I was
Get your
going
shit
to
together.
I was thinking about doing a deal in China, like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open.
Wasn't a good
and
deal.
I closed it.
Me and my little hands.
Excuse me.
Go
And
in and
then,
out, in and
unlike
out.
him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That
Oh,
was
I can't
before.
wait for the
So I
dumpster
closed
fire
it
after this show.
before I even ran for president.
Monday's gonna be good.
Let alone became
Dumpster
president.
fire?
Big
I like
difference.
that.
It's so
He
fire.
is the vice president of the United States,
Ba-dum-dum.
and his son, his brother, and his other brother are getting rich. They're like a vacuum
Your
cleaner. They're
kids
so-
work for you. You can't say that.
Vice President,
We all get it.
China.
All
Let's talk
politicians
about
do
China
this. I
more
get it.
broadly.
It's nasty. It's
There
terrible.
have, of
But your
course,
kids fucking
President
work for
Trump
you at the
has
White
said
House.
Should pay for not
Sorry.
being fully transparent.
It
in
bothers
regards
me
to the
so
coronavirus.
much.
If you were president, would you make China pay? And please,
This
be
is why I
specific.
can't
What
vote
would
for
that
either
look
one of
like?
them.
Yeah.
He's
I'd like
corrupt
China
as
to
fuck,
just
and
play
he's
by
just
the international
just the
rules,
same.
not
Except he's
like
loud and
China's
obnoxious.
He has caused the deficit of China to go up, not down,
Oh, dog.
with China, up, not down. We are making
B, I
sure
don't
that
trust
in order
you
to
with
do
China,
business in
homie.
China, you have to give all your intellectual property. You
Your
have to
foreign
have
policy,
a partner in China is
uh,
51%.
decisions haven't been
We
that
would
great
not do
over
that
the
at
years.
all, number one. Number two, we're in a situation
Do you remember
where
when Libya
China would
wasn't
have
a
to play
foreign-
by the rules
or a-
internationally as well. When I met with Xi,
A failed state?
when I was still vice president, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through them. I said we're going to fly through them. We just flew B-52,
We're gonna do it.
B-1
We're gonna
bombers
fly through them.
through it. We're not going to pay attention. They have to play by the rules.
What was
And what's
Hillary
he do?
Clinton being like, "Nah,
He embraces
motherfuckers.
guys like
Secretary
the
of State,
thugs
get out of the
like
way.
North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up.
not wrong.
We're
not wrong.
25%.
Mind you, some of them be a
25%
little
of the
soft.
world's
Meghan
economy.
Merkel.
We need
Oh.
to be having the rest of our
He hates
friends with us, saying
I'm
to
not a
China,
fan, but-
these are the rules.
Markle.
You play by them, or you're going to
Meghan
pay
Markle,
the price for
yeah,
not paying
the-
by them.
the PM.
Economically. That's the way
Yes.
I will run it, and that's what we did.
Meghan
in
Merkel
upholding
is,
steel tariffs and a
Meghan
range of
Merkel
other things
Is
when
the
we were
woman that
president and
Prince
vice
Harry is
president.
married to.
All right, let's talk about North Korea.
Excuse me, no, I have to
Yes.
respond
Is
to
that?
that.
It's,
Okay, very quickly, and then
it's
we're
a
going to
big
move on to
amount
North
with
It's
a
Korea.
like Your Highness,
$1.5
Meghan, now,
China
don't
to
worry about
March
it.
After
True.
spending 10
No,
minutes in
no.
office and being in Air Force Two. Number
Meghan
one.
Markle
Number two,
is
there's a very strong
the,
email
woman who's married
talking
to
about
Yeah.
your family wanting to
Prince.
make $10 million a year for introductions.
President Trump, on
For
China
introduction.
policy, though,
Oh,
what
she's-
specifically are you
No,
going
no,
to do?
but wait a minute.
What specifically are you going
Angela
to do
Merkel.
to make
Angela
China
Merkel.
pay? You said you're going
First
to
of
make
all,
them pay.
China
So many
is
Merkels
paying.
in the
They're
world.
paying
That sounds
billions
like
and
a-
billions of
that
dollars.
sounds
I just
right.
gave
New
$28 billion.
sanctions? New sanctions?
I just gave
New
$28
sanctions?
billion to our farmers.
Taxpayers'
Because China,
money.
Yeah.
What?
Taxpayers'
It's
money
what?
didn't
No,
come
no,
from
yeah,
China.
you know who the taxpayer is. It's called China. China paid
Oh,
$28
duh.
billion, and you know what they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their currency, and they also paid up. And you know who got the money? Our farmers, our
live
great
right now.
farmers, because they were targeted.
Yo,
You
China
never
put themselves
charged them
into debt,
anything.
devalue their currency so they could
I
pay the
charged
farmers?
them 25% on dumped steel because
Dumped
they were killing our
steel.
steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we have a steel
Okay,
industry.
Vice President Biden, your
Okay,
response,
okay.
please.
My response is, look, this
She's
isn't
been pretty good
about-
so far, like,
there's
just-
a reason
Yes.
why he's bringing up all this malarkey.
Malarkey!
Malarkey.
We got
He
malarkey.
doesn't
Take
want
a
to
drink.
talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly.
Oh, hey,
If you're
dude,
making
Salt in the
less
Streets
than-
is, like,
if you're
live
a
on
middle-class
Facebook right now.
family,
That's what my
you're
Twitter says.
getting
What's
hurt
up?
badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning deciding, well, we can't get new tires, they're bald because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Or who's going to tell her she can't go
This
back
isn't 1940,
to
Joe. Don't work like that
community
anymore.
college? They're the decisions
We just hold
you're
it all
making.
inside and
Middle-class
drink heavily.
families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. They're in trouble.
Go to Scranton.
We should be talking about
Tell me
your
I'm wrong.
families, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about.
I want
That is a
to talk
typical
about
statement.
North Korea.
Excuse me, just
I do
for
want
one
to turn
second,
to
please.
10 seconds, Mr.
This
President.
is
10
foreign
seconds.
policy. Let her go, man. Come
Let's get
on.
off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything. Just a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk
I'm
about
not
North
a typical
Korea now.
politician.
Okay,
That's why I got
President
elected.
Okay,
That
President
was-
Let's talk
Let's
about-
get off
Let's
the
roll
subject
here.
of China. Let's talk around, sitting around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do better.
We're going to talk about North Korea now.
Ooh.
President
Shot
Trump
across
has
the
met
bow.
with North Korean
Damn.
leader Kim Jong-un 3 times. You've talked about your beautiful letters
First
with him.
president
You've touted
in
the
how
fact
many
that there
decades?
hasn't been a war or a
Do you think
long-range
he's still
missile
alive,
test,
Kim Jong-un?
and yet North Korea recently rolled out its
I mean,
biggest
yeah, I'm going
ever
with yeah,
intercontinental
probably.
ballistic
I don't know,
missile
dude.
and
The,
continues to
if
develop
not,
its
whatever. The
nuclear
body
arsenal.
doubles
Do
looks
you
pretty
see
good.
that
I'm
as a
not really
betrayal
sure.
of the
He's fine.
relationship you forged just 30
Like if
seconds
President
ago
Trump
before
can
you
survive
get out of the
COVID, you know,
when I
he
met
could
with
survive
Barack
COVID. It's fine.
Obama, we sat in the White House right at the beginning. had
They
a
both
great
could die tomorrow,
conversation.
but
It was
for
supposed
some
to be
reason,
15
COVID didn't
minutes,
take
and
him
it was
out.
well over an hour. He said the biggest problem we have with North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him.
I have a really hard
Different kind
time
of a guy,
under-
but
like,
he probably thinks the
thinking
same thing
that
about me. We have
our
a different
military
kind of a
can,
relationship.
like,
We have a very
completely
good
devastate
relationship,
North
and
Korea
there's
without
no
them even
war.
knowing.
And you know,
Come on,
about
come on.
2 months
Without
ago,
nukes.
he
I mean, I
broke
don't wanna
into
be
a
slanging
certain
that
area.
big
They
dick
said,
energy,
oh, there's
but
going to be trouble. I said, no,
we
they're
as
not,
America-
because he's not going to do that.
If there's one
And
thing
I
we
was
got,
like,
it's a
look,
hella powerful
instead of being
military.
a war where
Motherfuckers are bored
millions of
right now.
people's soul,
Right?
you know, is 25 miles away.
Tim Kennedy
Millions and
re-upped.
millions-
Donald Trump got in office. Tim Kennedy's like,
Millions of
let's
people
go.
live in
Sign me
Korea
up.
right now.
President
We
Trump,
don't have
that's
a war.
30
Let's
seconds.
go
Thank
to
you.
Korea,
Vice President
bitch.
Biden, to you. North Korea
Ooh.
conducted 4
Where's Michael?
nuclear tests under the Obama administration. Why do you think you would be able to
Okay.
rein in this persistent
No question
threat?
about
Because
North
I'd make
Korea.
it clear, which
No
I'm
answer.
making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal. Because here's the I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration, when I
As
went to
clear as
China,
you're making it now, buddy.
I
Doing
said,
pretty
why are
good
you moving your
up
missile
until
defense
just
up
that
so
moment.
close?
That
Why
wasn't
are you
bad, though.
Not
moving
taking
more
shots at
forces
him,
here?
just-
Why are you continuing to do?
We have to notice.
Which is
Military
sad.
maneuvers with South Korea. I said, because North Korea is a problem, and we're going to continue to do it so we can control them. We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they cannot hurt us. And so if you want to do something
probably
about
not
it, step
the
up and
best way
help.
to
If
put
not,
that.
it's going to continue. What has
At
he
least
done?
he's honest
he's
about it.
legitimized North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy, who's a thug.
Glenn Greenwald's like,
And he
"See?
talks about
See,
how
I've
we're
been
better
telling
off,
you,
and they
fuckers."
have much more capable missiles, able to reach U.S. territory much more easily than ever did before.
Let me follow up with you, Vice President Biden. You've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would
Are we
be
still rocking shoulder
drawing
pads
down
these days
his
and suits?
nuclear
Women's suits?
capacity to get the Korean
What did you
Peninsula
say?
should be nuclear.
Are we still
free
rocking
zone.
shoulder pads
All right,
and women's
let's move
suits
on
these days?
to
Look at her. Look at those.
American families.
Listen, they tried
Why?
to
Very
meet
quickly,
with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He wouldn't do it. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like him. He wouldn't
Obama.
do it.
Okay, I
know
got to
for
give him a
fact they
chance to
tried.
respond to that
I
before
would
we
be
move on.
interested
And it's
to
okay.
see whether
You
or
know
not
what?
Kim
North Korea,
Jong-un
we're
would
not
meet
in a
with
war.
President
We have a
Biden.
good relationship. You know, people
Were
don't
he
listen.
to be
Having
president.
a good
President
relationship
Trump,
with
we have
leaders
to
of
move
other
on because
countries
we have
is
a lot
a
of
good thing.
we have a lot of questions to get to.
We got a
Your
lot of
response.
questions.
And we had a good relationship with Hitler before he, in fact,
There's
invaded
another one.
Europe. The rest of
That's
Europe.
really
Come
not
on.
good.
The
Bro.
reason he would not meet with President Obama is because President Obama said, we're going to talk about denuclearization. We're not going to legitimize you, and we're going to continue to put stronger and stronger sanctions on you. That's why he wouldn't meet with us.
All right,
And
let's
it didn't
move
happen.
on. Let's
Excuse
move on
me.
and talk
He
about
left
American
me a
families.
mess, Kristen.
President Trump.
Excuse me.
Okay, we do
They
need to move
left
on.
me a mess. North Korea was a mess.
We
And in
need to
fact,
move
if
on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can get
first
to all
2 or
of our
3
other
months,
questions.
Bro.
it was a very dangerous period in my
I
first
want
3
to know
months
when
before
they're
we
gonna
sort
actually
of
cut
worked
his
things out a
microphone
little
off.
bit.
Okay.
There was
Let's
a
think-
very
I don't
good-
think they will.
They left
You don't
us
think so?
a mess. And
No,
Obama
I think
would
it's
be,
just
I
Mike's
think,
muted during the
first to
2-minute
say it was the
responses.
single biggest problem. He thought that our country.
Okay, let's move on to American
Not as
families
much like
and the economy.
stepping like
one of the
talking
issues
over.
that's most
It's
important
more he
to
just
them
steps in and
is
steals it
healthcare,
from
as you
him.
both
Yeah.
know.
Like Biden's
Today
not
there was a key
responding.
vote on a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and
ACB.
healthcare is at the center of
I'm a
her
fan.
confirmation
I'm a fan of
fight.
ACB.
Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it.
Don't make the court
if
political.
the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was possible.
I'm hard pressed
Through
to
the
believe
legislature,
that
I terminated the individual mandate.
government
That is
would
the worst
leave 20 million
part
people
of
without health
Obamacare,
insurance.
as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune
Because
for the
even if
privilege
those
of
people
not having to
cannot
pay for bad health
riot,
insurance.
the people who
I
love
terminated
them
it. It's gone.
will riot.
Now it's in court.
Especially now.
Because Obamacare is no good. But then I made a decision. Run it as
And I know
well as you can.
I
Do you
can't say
understand
anything
what
for
that
sure,
means?
but I'm hard pressed.
Do
to
you
believe
Run it
understand
as
what
well
that
as you
means?
can. I could have
What?
gone the other
That
route
means
and made
we
everybody
now
very
have
unhappy.
essentially
They ran
Yeah.
it. Premiums are down. Everything.
permanent
Here's
government
fix it.
involvement
no matter
in the
how well you
healthcare
run it,
system.
it's no good.
Done.
What we'd like
It's
to
just
do is
both sides are
terminate it.
totally
We have the
acknowledging
individual
that.
mandate done. I don't know that
Unless
it's going to work.
they
If
actually
we don't
terminate it.
win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare.
But they won't terminate
it'll
it
be
without a
better run.
replacement.
But it no longer is
Right.
Obamacare because
Repeal and
without the
replace.
individual
So
mandate,
either adopt
it's
that
much
UK
different.
model or we're fucked
Pre-existing
for a while.
conditions will always stay.
Let's
What I would
let's
like
adopt
to
the
do
UK
is
model
a
and we'll
much
fuck with
better
it.
I wish I
healthcare,
had
much
time to
better.
learn more about healthcare.
Will always protect people with pre-existing.
I
So I'd
don't,
like to
but
terminate
I
Obamacare,
do,
come
you know.
up with a brand new, beautiful health care. The Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have
we
the
looking in the
House by
comments?
that
Do you have
time.
those up?
And I think we're going to win
Yep.
the House. Okay, you'll see.
Yeah,
but I
there
think
was
we're
the
going to win the House.
the last one.
But come up with a better health care. Always protecting people with pre-existing conditions. And one thing very
Yeah,
important.
see, right
we
there,
have
he's already talking
180
about, like,
million people out there
regardless
that
of
have
what
great
is
private
constitutional or
healthcare.
not,
Far
the federal
more than we're
government
talking
is
about
going to be
with
involved in
Obamacare.
healthcare now.
Joe Biden is going to
Permanently.
terminate all of those policies. These are people that love their health care, people that have been successful.
We're arguing
middle-income
over
people,
insurance.
Been successful. They have
Me, only knowing the
180
limited
million
amount
plans,
that I do know,
180 million
I think
people,
that it's
families,
more likely that
under what he wants to do,
private
which will
health care
basically be
is, like,
socialized medicine. He won't
made
even
it,
have a
you know,
choice.
quote unquote
They want to
illegal.
terminate 180 million plans.
Then
We have
for
done an
20
incredible
million people
job
to
on
be
health care,
removed from their health
and we're going to
insurance.
do even better.
I have
Okay,
Oh.
Vice President Biden, yes,
Oh!
this is for you. Your health care plan calls
Oh,
for
that was his
building
2 minutes,
on
though. That was
his
Obamacare.
2
So
minutes,
my question
so
is,
it
what
cuts
is your
off.
plan if the law is ruled
Look at that fucking-
unconstitutional by the
that's-
Supreme Court? You have
That
2
face,
minutes
though, man. Like,
uninterrupted.
Yeah, he
What
didn't
I'm
like
going
that.
to do is pass Obamacare with a public option. Become Biden.
Obamacare
Public
plus.
option.
Biden care.
There it
Oh
is.
shit!
The
If you,
first-
in
He's
fact,
stealing
do not
it.
Have the wherewithal to be.
He's
if you
stealing it.
qualify for Medicaid, and you do not have the wherewithal in your state to get Medicaid.
If we
you
have
automatically
Biden care,
enroll, providing
but we still have
competition
Medicaid,
for insurance
we need to
companies.
talk.
Secondly,
Just
to
saying.
make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by making sure that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly,
Dude,
the
by the way,
idea that
so
I
much
wanna
better than
eliminate
live
private
tweeting
insurance.
the
The
debate.
reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was
All right, Joe, you
I
keep talking.
support private insurance. That's why I did not one single person with
Yeah, I'll
private
take a beer.
insurance
That's where- is
would
that where
lose
you're
their
going? Yeah, I'll
insurance
take a beer.
under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose they wanted to go to something else.
hair looks
Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect
just his
pre-existing.
head.
There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions.
sir.
None, zero. You can't do it in the ether. He's been talking about this for a
Jordan
long
is
time.
gonna call me when the
there is
baby
no.
goes to
He's
bed.
never come up with a plan. I
Just
guess
so
we're
you
going to
know.
get
Gonna do
the
some FaceTime?
pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan.
Infrastructure!
Since 17, 18, 19, and 20. The fact, I still have a few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious. The the fact is that he's already
Trump's
cost the
eyes,
American
man.
people because of his terrible handling of the COVID virus and the economic spillover. 10 million people have lost their private insurance. And he wants to take away 22 million more people who have it on
Private.
Obamacare, and over
You can't blame
110
him for
million
10 million
with
people
pre-existing
losing their
conditions,
insurance when
and
it was
all
through
the
their
people
work
from
when he
COVID are
didn't
gonna have
close down the
pre-existing conditions.
states.
What are they going to do?
I have a follow-up for you, Vice President Biden.
That's
It
what he's
relates to
talking about,
something
right?
Right.
Is the,
Well,
is
he's trying
those-
to,
Like
yeah.
that's what he's referencing. Is
He's
people
trying
who
to,
lost
yeah.
their jobs and
who
then
have
lost their health
concerns that your
insurance,
healthcare
but he
plan,
didn't
which
close the
includes
states
government
down. He was
insurance
telling them to
option,
open the
takes
fuck up. So how can you
one
even?
step closer to a
You know, it
healthcare
sounds
system
good.
bullshit.
entirely
It sounds good though.
government.
People like
It's
it.
like when they both talk
ridiculous.
about
It's
how
like
much,
saying
like
that,
how many
you
jobs
know,
they've created or how many
we're,
jobs he's
the
lost
idea
during this
that
time.
the
You know what I'm
fact that
saying?
there's
It's
a
like
public
It's not the
option
federal
that people
government's
can
job to
choose.
make jobs.
That makes
Well,
it
not
a
even then.
socialist
There's-
plan.
it's
Look,
a global
the difference
pandemic
between
where,
the
you
president
know,
Word.
you can't
healthcare
blame
is not
either
a
of these.
It's just
people
different
for-
right now, man.
He can't take credit
Everyone
for
should have
creating
the
the
right
jobs
to
that
have
are coming
affordable
back
healthcare.
now. Just like
And I am very
Biden
proud of
can't
my
shit on
plan.
him
It's gotten
for
endorsed
for
by
all those
major
people losing
labor
their jobs
unions as
temporarily
well
at a
as-
time.
Yep.
That's
as well
a
as
nonsense
a whole
argument.
range of other people who, in fact, are concerned in the medical field. This is something that's going to save people's lives, and this is going to give some people an opportunity to have health care for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight wondering what in God's name you're going to do if you get sick?
Not me.
Because you've lost your home.
I haven't had
your
health
your
insurance in a
health
long
insurance,
time,
your
but
company's gone on.
I don't worry about that.
We have to provide health
I got other
insurance
shit to worry
for
about,
people
Joe.
at an affordable rate, and that's what I do.
President
Excuse
Trump,
me, he was
you're
there
Take care of
for
my, and I mean, not to
47
sound
years.
shitty,
He
but like
didn't
I
do it.
tried really hard
He
to
was
take care
now
of
there
myself,
as
so I
vice
don't need
president
to
for
worry
8 years,
about
and it's
like,
not
oh my
like
god,
it was
what if I get
25
sick?
years ago. It was
Yeah.
3 and
4,000
3/4. It was
IUs of,
just a little
vitamin
while
D every
ago,
day,
right?
BT does.
Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine, and it's not that he wants it. His vice president, I mean, she is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more. Bernie
wish he would
Sanders
call
wants
her
it.
progressive.
The Democrats want it.
Like, I
You're
know
going
it's a
to have
lost cause
socialized
pretty
medicine,
much at this
just
point,
like you
trying
want
to
with
get people to
fracking.
differentiate
We're
between
not gonna
liberal
have
and
fracking.
progressive.
We're going to stop fracking.
But,
We're
like,
going to stop
goddamn
fracking.
it,
Then
I'm
he
taking
goes
it
to
back.
Pennsylvania
I'm
after he
taking
gets a
liberal back.
nomination, which
Liberal
I'm
is
very
not a
lucky to
bad
get it.
thing,
And he
goddamn
goes
it.
to
Good luck, man.
Pennsylvania, and he says,
A lot of
"Oh,
people
we're
right
gonna
now
have
trying to take
fracking."
that back.
And you
Did
never
not work
ask the
out so well for
question.
Dave
And
Rubin.
By the way, so
He became
far,
a-
I respect
Taking it
very
back with
much
that.
the way you handle
Don't
it.
tread on me.
That right
But
there.
somebody should ask the question.
You can
He-
ask
he
the-
goes for a year. There will be
we
no
have a,
fracking.
we have,
there
we
will
do
be
have
no
a number of,
petroleum.
we have a number of topics.
No, but that's a
to.
big-
We-
that's a
and
big
we-
question.
and we're going to get
I love
to.
that
we're gonna
always.
get
Like,
to
we
all
got
that.
Same
so
thing with
much to talk
socialized
about.
medicine.
Can we wrap it
Vice
up?
President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care, period. Period, period, period. And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide for that affordable health care,
Will
lower
it?
premiums. What we're going to do is
Lower premiums, so we still gotta pay
It's gonna
premium.
cost over $750 billion over
AKA
10 years to do
insurance
it.
is still gonna be
and
around.
you're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing.
This
Just
is
like
the
to have
exact
your
same
drug
thing that
prices drop
every politician has
significantly.
been
He
saying
keeps
for the
talking
last
about
10
it.
years
He
at
hasn't
least.
done
Yeah.
a thing
Lower your
for
premiums.
anybody on health care. Not a thing.
Tristan, when
Very
he
quickly,
says,
Pick
then
your
I wanna
plans,
talk
keep
about
your
he says
doctor,
public
all
capital,
the, you know, all
he's
the
talking
dollars.
about socialized medicine, and when he and healthcare, when he talks
Well, he's
about
not,
a
'cause you still have
public
to pay
option,
for it.
Yeah.
he's talking about destroying your Medicare, totally
Wrong.
destroyed, and destroying
Wrong.
your Social
Wrong.
Security, and this whole
No, no, no,
country
we're gonna
will
have
come
socialized
down.
medicine
You know,
and
Bernie
Medicare.
Sanders
That's
tried
how
it
this is gonna work,
in his
guys.
state. He tried it.
That's how
in his
politicians
state.
get
His
socialized
governor was a
medicine
very
until you
liberal
get
governor.
to
They
age
want
for
to make it
Medicare,
work.
and then you have
Okay,
Medicare.
let's hear.
It was
Let's let Vice
impossible
President
to
Biden
make.
respond.
It doesn't
Vice
work.
President
He's a
Biden, your
very
response.
confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else.
He's a very
Running against
confused
Joe
guy.
Biden.
Oh,
I beat all
Joe
those other
Biden.
people because I disagreed with them. Joe Biden. He's
You
running
didn't beat
against.
anybody, bro.
And
The
the
party
idea
chose you.
that we're in a
Come on, man.
situation that they're going to destroy Medicare. This is the guy that the
They
actual
got
For some
Medicare
reason.
Pete and
said,
Klobuchar and
if
like
in
3 other
fact,
people to
as
drop
Social
out, so that
Security,
there wasn't any
if
other
in fact he
competition.
Dude, can you
continues
imagine
to
Klobuchar up there right
withhold
now?
his plan to withhold
Swinging.
the tax on Social Security. Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023.
Yeah.
With no way to make up for it. This is the guy who's tried to cut
Yeah.
Medicare. So no, I mean, the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and
Oh.
Medicare? Come on.
Come on.
He tried to get
10
rid of.
seconds,
He
Mr.
tried to
President.
hurt
We may be
Social
the same
Security
age, but
years
he is
ago.
so much younger
Years
than me.
ago, go back and look at the records. He tried to hurt Social Security years ago.
All
One
right,
thing,
let's move
but
on.
This
I'm
is
going to
the
move
guy
on.
that
Let me,
when they
Mr.
announced,
President,
Oh,
I
you
have
guys
to
are
move
so
on to the next
terrible.
question.
he
It's
said
true,
the
but-
stock
We're not
market
gonna have
will
time to
boom
talk about it.
if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Septuagenarian
Okay, let's move on to the
Listen, isn't
Next
saying
question.
Let me
Like,
respond.
that
Middle
what's up, but
schoolers.
we talked about this for a long time.
The
That
idea
helps
that the
a
stock market is
percentage of
booming
people.
is his only
Word.
measure of what's happening. Where I come from in
Your
Scranton,
retirement,
Claymont,
if
the
you
people
have
don't live
retirement
off of
on
the stock market. Just
That's
in
good.
in the last three
Even
3
then,
years,
there
during
was
this
a time where I
crisis,
lost about half my
so
retirement,
the
and then it came
billionaires
back,
in this
and then it was
country
gone,
made,
and then it
according
came
to
back.
the Wall
So,
Street,
I remember
$700
that.
billion more
It's
dollars.
cool sometimes.
$700 billion more dollars.
Most of the time,
Because
it's
that's his
nerve-wracking.
only measure. What happens to the ordinary people out there? what happens to them?
The everyday
talk
normal
about
people,
what's happening on
like
Capitol
you and
Hill.
me.
We're
Kristen,
going to move on,
401ks are through the roof.
We're gonna
People's
move on.
stock are through the roof.
All right.
And he doesn't come from
right.
Scranton. That's
All
like
right.
one of the, he lived there for a short period
gonna-
of time before
okay,
he even knew
we're
it.
gonna move on
and
to
he
the next
left.
question.
And the people of
Mute it.
Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question,
They
gentlemen.
understand.
As of tonight, more than 12 million people are out of work, and as of tonight, 8 million more Americans have fallen into poverty, and more families are going hungry every day. Those hit hardest are women
We
and
feed
people
them.
of color.
We
They see
feed
Washington
them.
fighting
We need a
over
shirt
a
that says
relief
we
bill.
feed them.
Mr.
Dude.
President, why haven't you been able to get them
Salt
the
of
help
the
they
streets.
need? 30
We
seconds.
feed them.
Because Nancy Pelosi doesn't
Quote
want to
unquote,
approve it.
we
I
feed
do.
them.
But you're
I'll
the
make that
president.
shit.
I do, but I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to
gotta
take
get a
over
new
the
printer
House
still.
because of her. Nancy
Need
Pelosi
to
doesn't
make
want
sure
to
it's
approve
called.
anything
I know.
because she'd love to have some victories.
Well,
on
when
a
do we
date
do?
called November
When I
3rd.
do, we'll
Nancy
have some
Pelosi
We Feed
does
Them
not
shirts.
want to
We'll
approve
support
it.
them next
We are ready,
on the
willing,
Halloween
and able
show.
to do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans, and it's gone through, including
It's
the
gone through.
Democrats. In all fairness, this one she doesn't want. It's near the election.
Yeah, because don't
she
forget,
thinks it
they're
helps her
not
politically.
they're not
I think it hurts
necessarily
her politically.
dealing
All right, Mr.
with the
Vice
Republicans.
President,
You know, the
They're
Republican
dealing
leader
with
in the
fucking
United
Mnuchin
States Senate said he can't
and the White
pass it.
House.
Yeah.
That's
He
who
will
Nancy
not be
Pelosi's
able
making
to
a
Right.
deal with.
He does not have Republican votes. Why isn't he talking to his Republican friends?
Let me follow up with you, Vice President
we made a
Biden,
deal, the
because
Republicans
let me
will
ask
pass
Vice
it.
President Biden a question.
Yes.
You are the
Because
leader
Mitch
of
will
the
do
Democratic
whatever you
Party.
tell him to
Why
do.
have you not pushed the Democrats to get a deal for the American people?
Well, I have, and they have pushed it. Look, they passed this act all the way back in
Oh,
the beginning of the
horseshit.
summer. This is like it's not new. It's been out there. This HEROES Act has been sitting there. And look at what's happening.
Has been sitting
when
there,
I
man.
was in charge of the Recovery Act with $800 billion.
Did you read that
I
thing,
was
Joe?
able to get
Like, it's kinda wild.
$145 billion to local communities that have to balance their budgets and states that have to balance their budgets, so then have to fire firefighters, teachers, first responders,
not
law
that
enforcement
the
officers.
collapse in
so they can
2008
keep
was
the
not like
cities
an
and
enormous
counties
deal,
running.
but let's not
He
act
will
like
not
that's the same
support
thing
that.
as what's
They
going
have
on
not
right now.
done a
Okay.
thing for them. And Mitch McConnell said,
Similar.
let them go bankrupt.
Similar,
Let
but
them go bankrupt.
But this is, yeah,
Come
it's
on.
like, it's not
political
something like,
division,
was
I would
passed in
argue,
the
is
House
worse
was a
now than it
bailout
was in
of
2008.
badly
Even with the
run,
Tea Party, all of that
high-crime,
bullshit,
Democrat,
people are dying now
all
because
run
of
by
the disease. There's
Democrats,
other
cities
shit
and
involved
states.
in this. Like
It
there's
was a way
you know
of
what I'm
getting a
saying?
There's a
lot of
few
money.
more
Billions and
variables.
Economically
billions of
similar,
dollars to
but
these
as far
kids.
as politics
it was also
goes,
a way
it is
of
not
getting
the
a
Totally
lot
same.
of
different.
money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country
What do you think about
illegally.
this?
It's good.
We
Fields
want to
of
take
green.
care of everything for them.
Wet
And
Hop.
what that does, and I'd love
By
to
my
do that,
favorite
I'd
brewery,
love to help them. But
Fort
what
George
that does,
Brewery.
everybody all over the world
been to their
will start
brewery down in
pouring into
Astoria,
our
Oregon.
country. We can't do
Fantastic.
it. This was a way of taking care of them. This was a way of spending on things that had nothing to do with COVID, as per your question. But it was really a big bailout for badly
look, I
run
mentioned your
Democrat cities and states.
All right,
By
I
the way,
want
if
to.
I get elected, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president. I don't see red states and blue states. What I see is
He's been
America,
talking about red
United
states and blue states
And
earlier.
folks, every single state out there
Well,
finds
that's what he said.
itself
They're-
in
we're
trouble.
not red states and
They're
blue
going to
states.
start
We're America.
laying off, whether they're
That's the
red
second
or
time he's
blue.
used it.
Cops, firefighters, first responders, because teachers.
How
because
about
they have to balance their
bureaucratic
budget. And the
administrators?
founders
How about
were
those
smart.
people go? Maybe
They
we
allowed
cut the
the
fat
federal
there,
government to
Joe.
deficit spend to compensate
That's
for
not
the
all the
United
government.
States of America.
I want to
Social
talk about the minimum
services are
wage,
not
gentlemen. Mr.
the
Vice
entirety
President,
of the government.
we are
They're
talking a
minority in
lot
the
about
government. The
struggling small
administrators,
businesses
just like in
and
fucking
business
schools.
owners these days. Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15 federal minimum
I
wage.
do, because I think one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bail them out too.
So expensive.
We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of
don't-
them going under.
I
They're
would
gonna
not
be
be
able to
calling
make
that
it
a
back.
bailout.
They
I don't
passed
like. I
a
guess
pa-
that's
a package that
technically what
allows
you're
us
doing,
to
but
be
it's
able to
not
go
like
PPP.
the small businesses
Money is
invested
supposed to go
themselves to
help them do
shit.
everything from organize how
The
they can
Democratic
deal
states,
with their
all
businesses
the
being
states that
open
closed them
safely.
down, forced them to close
Schools,
down, and they
how
couldn't
can
make any fucking
classrooms
money.
smaller.
Any
How they
state,
can hire
red
more
or blue,
teachers, how
that
they can
shut
put
their
ventilation
businesses down
systems in.
owe them money.
They need
The government
help.
cannot tell you what to do,
Businesses as well
but they
as
did,
the
and we
schools need
followed.
the help.
They owe us
But
money.
Yeah,
these
that's-
guys will not help them. Is not giving them any of the money.
We are going to move on to
One
immigration,
thing very
but I
quickly,
want
he
to
said
get
we
your
have to help our
reaction.
small businesses.
And I don't
by
want the federal
raising
government
the
telling
minimum
the
wage.
states to
That's
pay
not
us all,
helping.
though.
I think it should be a state
that?
option.
I don't want the federal government to
Alabama
have the
is
power
different than New
to
York.
tell the states to
New
pay us
York
all, though.
different from Vermont.
Right?
Every state
Unless
is
it's like
different. It should be a
through the
state
Supreme
You
Court or
said very
something
We
like
have to
that.
help.
But
It's very important. We have to help our small businesses.
You
How
said-
are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen,
Well,
and what's
there's
been proven to
potential
happen,
for
is when you do that, these small businesses
lawsuits. I
fire
know
many
that-
of their employees.
You said very
True.
recently you would
By the way.
consider
Turn this down real
raising the
quick. I know
federal
that
minimum wage to
there
$15
Say
an
it.
hour.
a
You
bunch
said
of
recently you would
businesses that
consider
were
raising the federal
inside
minimum
of
wage.
Chaz that are suing the city now
Yeah.
because of like lost revenue and like
Saw
all this
that.
shit. And the city is like, oh, we can't be held accountable for the acts of private citizens. And it's like, wait, that's literally what their counter argument was that they can't be held accountable for the acts of private citizens. Bitch, you let them set up an autonomous zone in the city and didn't do fucking anything about it. So but you don't have anything to do with the rape or the murders that happened inside there. That has nothing to do with you. The reports of extortion, none of that shit. That doesn't matter at all. Come the fuck on. That's bullshit.
how about this? We're talking about the minimum wage right now.
What's happening? They deserve a minimum wage of $15.
$15 an hour is not gonna pay anybody's rent.
Level. And there is no
Unless
evidence
you
that
like
when you
live
raise
in
the
a
minimum
very
wage,
impoverished neighborhood or
businesses
something
go
like
out
that.
of
If you live in a
business.
suburb
That is
somewhere,
simply
$15 an hour
not
isn't going
true.
We're
to
going
make
to talk
you.
about
It's not going
immigration. We're going to talk
make
about
rent,
immigration now,
much less
gentlemen.
pay the utility bills and all
we're
this
gonna
shit.
talk about
Yeah.
families within this
What are we talking about
context.
here?
Mr.
Why are we talking
President,
about
your
$15 minimum
administration
wage?
separated children from their
It's-
parents
it
at
doesn't
the
do
border.
what they say it,
4,000
you know,
kids.
purports to do.
You've since reversed
It
your zero
makes
tolerance
things
policy,
generally
but the
more
United
expensive.
States
Yeah.
can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So
I don't know,
how
even
will
my
these families ever be
newly hired
reunited?
people, I wouldn't pay $15 an
Children are
hour though.
brought
I pay
here
more than that.
by coyotes and
Just
lots
because,
of
you know,
bad
the
people,
market.
cartels.
Well, best
and
believe
they're
you
brought
guys,
here,
when we
and they
start having
used to use them
employees,
to get into our country.
y'all are gonna have
We
a
now
sick
have
paycheck.
As strong a border as we've ever had.
If you raise
We're
minimum
over
wage, people will lose
400
jobs.
miles of
Thank
brand
you,
new
Larry.
road.
Yes.
You see
Larry
the
knows
numbers,
what's
and we
up.
keep going,
Larry.
but They have to come in legally, and they come in
God,
through
the
But
mail.
tax
how
man-
will we
he's just the
reunite
econ
kids
man
with
now.
their
I love
families,
Larry.
Mr.
They
President?
built
You're gonna have to
cages.
take
You
the
know,
first
they used
job
to
as
say,
a
"I
Salt of
built
the Streets
cages."
economic
And then they
contributor.
had a
He's
picture in
gonna
a
be
certain
like
newspaper.
Crowder's
There was a
lawyer,
picture of
Bill
these
Richmond.
horrible
You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
And they said, "Look at these cages."
I mean, he has
Larry,
his.
we're gonna pay him to come to work in,
Because
a,
what
in
did
an
Crowder
call him?
enormous suit every day.
In
Half Asian lawyer, Bill
2014.
Half
Richmond.
Asian.
That was him.
We're not gonna.
Do you have
We're not
your
gonna.
No,
Larry
no, we
we're
just
gonna
we
raise
have a
him
we
like
have
that.
no, but we have a
trying
title
very hard.
for
Yeah.
Larry,
A lot of
local
these kids
celebrity
come out
Larry
without their
Dixon,
parents. They come over
aka
through cartels
Tax
and
man.
through
The tax
coyotes
man.
and through
Yes.
gangs.
Vice President Biden,
You got to
let me
wear
read into
a
this
tightly
conversation.
fitted
Quick
suit
response
every
and then
day,
another
Larry.
question to you.
So that you just
That
look
means we
fucking-
got to pay him enough
yoked.
to wear a tightly
That's all
fitted
right.
suit.
I told you he's
They
gonna have a sick
separated him at the
paycheck.
border.
Absolutely.
Plus,
to
he's
make
gonna
it a
save us all that money in our
disincentive to come
taxes
to
every
begin
year.
with.
So,
That's how we pay
what,
him.
yeah, whatever we get, whatever we
Strong.
save on our
And
taxes,
guess
Larry,
what?
Yeah.
you're getting
They
a cut, dog.
cannot- It's not coyotes didn't bring
Every
them
year
over.
he's like, okay,
Their
so
parents
now that you
were
know
with
how
them.
much money you're saving
They
on
got
taxes,
separated
what's
from
my
their
bonus
parents.
going to be?
Yeah.
That's what
It
I
makes
do.
us a
That's
laughing
smart.
stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
they
to
did
that?
it. We changed.
did not
They built the
separate the
cages.
vet- they-
That's
Who built
bullshit.
the cages, Joe?
They
talk
built
about
the
what we're talking
cages.
about.
Cages,
Let's
Joe.
talk about
You
what we're
built the
talking about.
cages,
I'm not
Joe.
talking about
What
the cages
happened?
thing, but we've
Parents
talked
were
about when
ripped,
this
their
was a
kids were
huge
ripped
political
from their
issue
arms and
that the
separated.
separation policy of families
And now they
absolutely is an
cannot find
Obama
over
era
500
policy that started during the
sets of
Obama
those
administration.
parents,
That's
Yeah.
a
and
lie.
those kids
Which
are
is what Trump means when
alone.
he says you built the
Nowhere
cages,
to
Joe.
go.
Right, but I mean, Joe
Nowhere to
Biden
go.
said we
It's
did not
criminal.
separate
No,
families, and that's
it's
bullshit.
criminal.
Yeah.
Let me ask
He
you
lied about
about
that.
Say this. They went
He
back
lies about that
and
all the
forth,
time.
reporters, everything. They are
If
so
we were
well
counting
taken
lies
care
right
of.
now,
They're
Joe
in
Biden has lied
facilities that
way
were
more
so
times than
clean.
Donald
Some of
Trump.
them haven't
And
been
Donald Trump be
united.
lying
Just
all
ask
the
one
time.
question. Who built the cages? I'd love you to ask him that. Who built
That's
the
a
cages?
good line.
Let me
Who
ask
built the
about your
cages,
immigration
Joe?
policy, Mr. Vice President.
like
The
this
Obama
argument.
I don't want a
administration
shirt that
did fail
says
to
that, but I
deliver
want him to
immigration
sell a shirt that
reforms
says
has been
that.
a key promise
I don't want it.
during
I
I
don't
can't
want
wear it
it.
around here
Also,
because
I
I'll
don't
get
want it.
shot. But
No, I don't want it. I don't want it at all. But I want to know that he sells it because that would be fucking funny.
that's how he raises
Mistake.
his numbers,
Took too long
his
to get it
donation
right.
numbers.
It's like him
Took too long
selling
to get it
straws
right.
and shit, you
I'll
know?
be president of the
Just
United
dumb
States, not
stuff.
vice president of the United States. And the fact
Just
is,
things
I've
to
made
piss
it very
people off.
clear. Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to
Fuck, we should have
citizenship
been on
for
YouTube.
over 11
What?
million
When
undocumented people.
my buddies,
and all of those
my
so-called
employee
dreamers,
buddies,
those
he
DACA
was like,
kids,
dude, it's
they're
not on
going to be
YouTube. It's not working. I'm like,
immediately
oh shit, no, it's on
certified to
Facebook,
be
bro.
able to
Jump
stay
over
in
there.
this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy, and they want to do that, is they go into a country they've never seen
Why should
before.
voters trust
I can
you
imagine
on
you're
an
5 years
immigration
old,
overhaul?
Your parents are taking you across the Rio Grande River.
Can we talk about the validity of the question
You
period?
say, oh, no, Mom,
Yeah.
leave me here.
The executive should not be in charge of fucking immigration
Many
policy.
of them are model citizens.
So he's saying in the first 100 days,
20,000
he's
first
sending to
responders
Congress a pathway
out
to
there taking
citizenship.
care of people during this
For
crisis.
DACA.
We owe them.
Which
we
one
owe
day
them.
we should talk about that. The
President
Supreme
Trump,
Court
He
decision on
had
DACA.
8 years to do what he said he was going to do. And I've changed
We did.
without having
We
a
did.
specific. We got rid of catch and release. We got rid of a lot of horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had
But
8
the whole thing
years
was
he was
bad,
vice
bro.
president.
That's the whole thing.
He did
And
nothing
it's not
except
good. The
build
way
You can't
that
just
the way
fix
that
what's
that was
broken.
interpreted on the
Children.
ground and the way that
Vice
ICE had to
President
start
Biden
doing
response.
shit to pick
The
people
catch
Oh,
and
dude.
release.
was
You know what
not
he's
good.
talking
So
about
bad.
there?
Much
If in
worse
fact you
on
had
the communities.
family
It's not good.
Yeah.
came across and they were arrested. They, in fact, were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released. And guess what? They showed up for a hearing.
Ooh.
And this is the first president
Except for
in
the bad
the United
guys.
States of America
Because
that's
bad guys
anybody
just ain't gonna show up anyway.
seeking asylum
Same argument
has
against
to do it in
gun
another
control.
country. That's
Bad
never
guys always
happened
gonna get
before
away
in
with it.
America.
That's what
That's
makes them
never
bad
happened
guys.
before in America. You come to the United States and you
I'll
make
be right
your
back, you
case
guys.
that I seek asylum based on the
Go talk
following,
to the baby.
on the following premise: why I deserve it under American law. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
President Trump, your response,
so
30
important.
seconds, and then we'll move
It just shows that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in.
A very
We
bad
would take
person.
their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you say they come back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out
How are you supposed
and Border
to-
Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason.
2 or
We're gonna
3
give you a
years.
court case.
That's the problem.
When
Give them a
you
court
say
case
they come
when they're
back,
there.
They don't come back, Joe. They never
Part
come
of the
back.
problem, I should say.
Only the
How are you supposed to do a background check on somebody from another
I
country?
hate to say this,
Takes
but
time.
those with the lowest IQ, they might come back.
Okay,
But
President
that's
Trump,
very
let's
don't-
give Vice President Biden a
don't
chance to
do
respond, and then we're
that.
going to move
You-
on to the
You
next
don't know
section.
Dumbass.
Joe.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Oh,
The law, what he's telling you is simply not true.
do you see
check it out.
why I
They'll
have a
come
problem
back, check it
voting
out.
for either of
All
these
right, let's
dumbasses?
But we don't have to worry about it
This is
because they
insane.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry about
Let's
it
move
anymore.
on to the next
And you have
section.
525 kids not knowing where in God's name they're going to be and lost their parents.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's talk about our next section, which is race
That
in
was-
America.
that was terrible.
And I want to talk about the way black and brown Americans experience race in this country. Part of that experience is something called the talk.
The
it
talk.
happens regardless of class and income. Parents who feel they have no choice but to prepare their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I
Sad
want
thing,
you to
man.
speak directly to
Sad
these
thing.
families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
I do. I do. You know, my daughter is a social worker, and she's written a lot about this. She has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania.
What is
in
Joe
social
Biden's daughter's name?
And you know, one of the reasons why I ended up working on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, which is 90% African American, was to learn more about what was going on. I never had to tell my daughter if
Jax
she's
was going
pulled
to
over,
bed.
make sure
Ashley
she puts
Biden.
for a traffic stop.
What's that?
Put both
Joe
hands
Biden's
on top of
daughter
the
is
wheel
a social
and don't
worker. I
reach
had
for the
no
glove box
idea.
because someone may shoot you. But a
Talking
black
about
parent,
like
no matter how
black and
wealthy or
brown
how
people,
poor they are,
as they put
has to
it, as
teach
the
their
moderator put
child,
it,
when you're walking down the
you know,
street,
have to have
don't
like
have
the
a hoodie
talk.
on
Their
when you
parents
go
have to have
across
the
the
talk
street,
with the kids
making
about
sure
like
that you,
what
in
to do with the
fact, if
cops
you
and
get pulled
you know
over,
stuff like that, so you
yes,
don't get
yes,
killed.
Sir, no, sir. Hands on top of the wheel, because you are in fact the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person, or someone who's on food stamps. The fact of the matter is, there is
I mean, I heard
institutional racism in
comedians talk
America.
about that shit,
And
man.
we have always
Like
said,
anecdotally.
we've
Right,
never lived
you
up
know.
to it. Do we hold these truths to
I
be
don't doubt that it
men and
happens.
women are
What's
created equal.
his
Guess
name? The
what?
Republican senator.
We
All I can think
have
is Tim
never,
Scott, but
ever
that's
lived
not
up
his
to it.
name.
We've
He's a
always
governor.
constantly been moving the needle further and
It's like
further
the one
to
black
inclusion,
Republican
not
senator.
exclusion. This is the
And
first
he's
president to
talked
come
about
along and
that
says
same
that's
deal,
the end
like
of that.
even in the
We're not
My
Capitol
gonna do
Google
that
is now fucked because
We
I
have
just
to
typed that
provide
in.
for
Thank you.
economic opportunity, better education.
Google knows
better
me now.
healthcare,
Yeah.
better access to schooling, better access to
Oh, I'll find it.
opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the
What did you
things we
Google,
can
black
do, and I've
Republican
laid out a
senator?
clear plan
Yeah.
as to
Yes.
how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
Tim Scott.
Oh, it is
And
Tim Scott.
President Trump, same
Paul
question to you. Let
Thurmond.
me remind you
No,
of the
it's Tim
question.
Scott.
I would
Yep.
like you to speak
Okay.
directly
Well, there we go.
to these families. Do you understand?
Yeah, so
why
Tim
these
Scott
parents
has even
fear for
talked
their
about,
children?
Yes,
like,
I
in the
do.
Capitol. He's been
Yeah.
pulled over and been
He's
like,
very
"You're fucking
vocal.
kidding me, right? Like,
47
I'm a
years,
goddamn
never did a
senator."
thing, except in 1994, when he did such harm to the black
given our
community.
societies, like kind of makeup, if any politician,
and he said that,
whether
he
in the
said
House
it,
or the
super
Senate, is
predators,
talking about being
and
like
they kept never
fucked
lived
on.
that down. 1994.
You gotta understand that,
new
like,
crime
if
bill,
there's a
the
1%,
super
you know, like the
predators.
1%,
Nobody
you
has done
motherfuckers are
more
part of
for
it
the black
at this point.
community
Like, I'm sorry.
than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the
Not to-
exception
not to take
of
away validity
Abraham
from the
Lincoln,
argument.
possible
No,
exception
But
but
if
do you
you're
know-
one of those
of
people,
Abraham
how
Lincoln,
hypocritical?
nobody
Because you
has
are the
done
poster
what I've
boy
done.
of the American
Criminal
dream.
justice reform.
To speak to Donald
Obama
Trump's point,
and Joe
I think that this
didn't
is
do it.
politically a
I don't
strong
even think
argument
they
to be
tried, 'cause they
making
had no
that
chance
the
at doing
reason
it.
that
They might have wanted to do
parents
it.
Do you
of-
understand why African American parents are fearful for their children?
And Donald Trump is saying that the reason of that is because of the bill that Joe Biden passed in
The crime bill.
1994, the crime bill.
Yep.
Yeah,
Weeks later,
that's
they're
a
out saying,
good
"Gee, we have to
politically.
defeat
That's a
them."
really good move
Criminal
to make.
justice
It is
reform.
Strong
Prison
argument.
opportunity
Probably
zones with
correct.
Tim Scott, a great senator from
Statistically
South
correct,
Carolina.
I should say.
He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity zones. It's one of
That's
the most
strong.
successful.
I love how
programs.
we have an
People
econ
don't
guy,
talk
by the
about
way.
it.
Yes.
Tremendous investment.
small business
is
owner?
being made. Biggest beneficiary.
said he
Every
would do
time
it,
Larry
he's in.
opens his mouth, I'm just like, oh,
Communities.
thank you for
And then
validating
Said he
what
would do it,
I
he's
think.
in.
Black
Larry's
colleges
in.
and universities.
Like, he didn't say,
After
he
3
didn't say whether
years
he's in or
coming
not.
to the office, I
He's in.
love
But
some of
he's
those
in.
guys.
I know
They're
he's
great.
in.
Larry,
They came into
you're
the
in.
office. And
I
they
texted
said-
him earlier
they said,
today. I
"What
was
are you
like,
doing?"
or
After
on
3 years, I
Twitter or
said, "Why
whatever, I
don't you keep
DM'd
coming
him,
back?"
bro, I can't wait
Because we
till
have
you're
no
back
funding.
on
I
the
said, "You don't have
podcast.
to
We
come
got so
back
much
every
more to talk
year.
about.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
have to come back because President Obama would never give them long-term funding, and I did. 10-year long-term
HBCUs.
funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, "I think you need more." And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them, and they like me and I like them. But I say
I may never see you again.
colleges
never
and
see you again.
universities.
Okay, and we're going to talk about both of
He's
your
hilarious.
records, but your
He is,
response
man.
to that, Vice
My
Mayor.
response
Like,
to that
honestly,
is
if this
I
dude,
never,
like,
ever
if he
said
doesn't become president again,
you
if he was to
accuse
go
me
into
of saying.
stand-up,
The fact
I'm
of the
there.
matter is, in
I'll pay
2000
dollars
now,
to see Donald
Word.
Trump do
this crime
stand-up.
bill had been in the law
With
for
that
a
hair?
while.
Shoot.
This is the guy who said the problem. with
Did
the
you
crime
catch
bill is not
his?
enough people in
They
jail.
released
There's
his
not
footage
enough
of the
people in
60
jail.
Minutes interview.
And go on my
No.
website.
Okay.
Get the quote. The date
You gotta
when he
watch
said
that.
it.
It's
Not enough
great.
people. He talked
They stopped to,
about
like, fix his hair and
marauding
shit.
gangs, young gangs, and the people who are going to maraud our cities. This is a
Maraud
guy
our
who in
cities.
the Central Park Five innocent black kids. He continued to push for making sure that they got the death penalty. None of them were guilty of the crimes they were suggested.
That
Look,
did
and
happen,
talk
but
about
if you're going to try and
granted,
weigh it
he did,
against,
in fact,
like, the
let
1994 crime
20
bill,
people- he commuted 20 people sentences.
it's fucked up. I'm not
Yeah.
not belittling what Donald
Over
Trump
1,000.
did in
The
regards to
very
the
law
Central
he's
Park
talking
5
about
because
is
I
a law that, in
understand,
fact,
but
initiated by
there's a
Barack
big
it's
but,
not a
right?
very strong
And secondly,
counter argument
Yeah.
there's a
to.
situation
I know
here
that I
where
crafted the
when
1994
the
crime bill
federal
because
prison
I've said it
system was reduced by
1,900 times.
38,000 people
But what
under
about
our
This
administration.
one time that he
Yeah.
did
And one of
this.
these things we should be doing.
And
there
that's
should
not to
be
argue with
no
the
minimum
results of the
mandatories
crime
in the
bill.
law.
Yeah, that's not-
That's
Which
why I'm
is not a
offering $20
conversation
billion
That's not a strong
to
argument.
change their state laws to eliminate
He's
minimum
appealing
mandatories
socially to
and
like
set
a
up
big
drug courts. No
political
one should be
shot.
going to
Yeah.
You know what
jail
I'm saying?
because
Yeah.
they have a drug
Social
problem.
Band-Aid
They
on
should
a
be going to
political wound is
rehabilitation,
not gonna-
to jail.
100%.
We should fundamentally change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
But why didn't he do
Especially
it
at
4
the
years
top
ago?
levels
why
of the
didn't
government.
you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you
I
do it?
am
You were
not-
vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this. But you were there just a short time ago.
It is
and you
interesting
guys
how
did
many
nothing.
things Joe Biden
You know,
seems
Joe,
to take
I
credit
ran
for
because of
Oh,
you.
during the
I
Obama
ran
administration.
Because they were
When
a
I-
team, bro.
But
They
at,
were a team.
and at the time,
If I thought you did
he
a good
was
job, I
like,
would have never run.
it was like, this
I
guy
would
does
have never
nothing.
run.
Like,
I
it's
ran
like, it's
because
just
of
a,
you.
I even
I'm
remember
looking
that
at
I
you
was
now.
not
You're a
politically activated
politician.
and Joe
I
Biden as
ran
vice
because of
president
you.
was
Okay,
not
Vice President
No.
Biden, your
taken
response to
seriously.
that,
You know
and then
what
I
I'm
do have some questions.
No,
Was that he
it-
said stupid shit. That's what
Yeah.
everybody always talked about. He said
About the
stupid
same
stuff.
time frame. Like I was like
happening here
watching
is
O'Reilly and
you know
shit.
who
You know,
I
you know,
am.
I was
You know
that
who he
level
is.
of committed.
You know his character. You know my character.
And Joe Biden
You
back
know
then
our
was
reputations
still
for
a
honor
joke.
and telling
Yeah.
the
Like
truth.
he's still like Joe
I am
Biden.
anxious to
Robin
have this
Williams
race.
has a
I'm
comedy
anxious to
special. His
see
last
it.
comedy special that he
Yes.
did, which is
I
fantastic. He
am
talks about crazy
character,
Joe
the country is on
Biden.
the ballot.
He's the
Our
uncle
character's on the ballot.
with
Look at this
dementia
closely.
that you put on the
Let me
phone
ask
with a
some follow-up
telemarketer's
questions.
call.
Respond,
That was
and then
when
we're
he
gonna
was
have
VP.
follow-up
It's true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries,
love-
Iraq. If this is true,
Always
then
with
he's
the hands.
a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff
funny.
about how you're this innocent baby.
Again,
No, they're
stand-up
calling
comedy,
you a
bro. You
corrupt
got a lane.
politician.
Don't
Just
give me
stay
that
there.
stuff about
President
how you're an
Trump, I
innocent
want to
baby.
stay on the issue of race. We're talking
If he wasn't a
about
politician
race.
and he was a stand-up
President
comedian,
Trump, we're
Nobody-
talking about
everyone
race
would
right now,
love
and I
him.
do want to stay on the issue.
But he's
of
a
race.
politician,
President
so
Trump,
Can I
you've
have to
just-
respond
half the
to
people
that?
Please.
love him, half the
Very
people
good.
hate
There
him.
are 50 former national intelligence folks
I like how she like
who
stares
said
at her
that
notes
what
all
this
fucking.
he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They
Oh.
have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
Oh.
Nobody believes it except his
It's a bunch
and
of
his
malarkey.
good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You
I
mean
did
the
hear
laptop is
today
now
on
another Russia
a
hoax?
podcast
You
That's
guys-
exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This
Ben
is
Shapiro
where
has
he's
talked
going.
about it
The
before.
laptop
Oh.
is Russia,
Yeah.
Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to
Reported in
stay on the issue
something
of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go
President?
again with Russia.
Russia.
Blocked and
On the issue
reported.
of race.
Okay.
Mr.
They talked
President,
about it and they
you've
said all of
described the
these
Black Lives Matter movement
ex-heads
as
of
a
intelligence
symbol of
agency and shit are like
shared
big
video
Democratic
of men
donors.
chanting white power
So,
Yeah, they all are.
and all the people who are actively in the positions are saying that it's real. So,
Just saying.
and that there's no signs of any type of international interference in regards to this hard drive with these emails on it. So, like, that's all well and good, but the people who are in the intelligence agencies now have shown that they're not bootlickers. They don't continue to agree with the president all the time. They've cut against his opinions continuously since they've been in there. Christopher Wray and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I am hard pressed to believe that they have any ulterior motives as opposed to these people who are big Democratic donors now and obviously want Donald Trump to be winning. Fucking James Clapper, you know what I'm saying, is one of these people
Word.
like that. I don't believe what the fuck James Clapper says. That's some horseshit. So
How much money is James Comey putting into this thing?
that's this is just to frame in that argument of 50 previous, workers. They're all Democratic donors now, or at least a vast majority of them.
They can say anything. I mean, they can say anything. It makes me sad because I
Makes
am.
me sad.
I am the least racist person. I can't even see the
What do
audience.
you see
because
to
it's so
what do you
dark.
say to
But I
Americans who
don't care
think
who's in the
your
audience. I'm the
rhetoric
least
is contributing to
racist
racial
person
tensions?
in this room.
Okay,
That's
Vice
Lindsey
President
Graham.
Biden, let me ask you very quickly, and then I have a
Just
follow-up
Lindsey
question
Graham.
for you.
Abraham
Well, just
Lincoln
because
is one of
he
the
has
most
called him a
racist
race
presidents
baiter in
we've
the
had
past.
modern history. He pours fuel on every
did he say?
single racist fire. Every single
One of the most racist
Started off
presidents
his
in U.S.
campaign
history.
coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of
I think he called him
Mexican
Abraham Lincoln.
rapists.
Abraham Lincoln
He's
here.
banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He's
That's-
moved around and made everything worse.
Neither of
across
those
the
things
board.
are valid.
He says about the poor boys. Last time we
The
were on
poor boys,
stage,
bro, you don't
he
even
said,
know who the
"Tell
Proud
them to
Boys
stand
are."
down and stand ready. Come on.
Poor boys,
This
man.
guy
That's
is-
not even
Let's
what
start
he
a
said.
gang
Things
tonight
are
called the Poor Boys.
President Trump, I'm going to give
Biden
you
is
10
our
seconds
leader.
to respond
How
to that
many
follow-up.
poor boys
Made a
Facebook
reference
pages
to
are going to be
Abraham
made in the next
Lincoln. Where did
24
that come
hours?
in? I mean,
You said
I'm surprised I'm not making one right now.
Where did that?
I should get on that. Poor
You
boys
said-
Twitter.
I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
Oh,
And
first
I'm
time
saying
he hasn't called
I'm
himself Abraham Lincoln.
I said,
Congratulations,
not
T-Dog.
since Abraham Lincoln.
You finally
has
fixed your
anybody
rhetoric.
done what I've done for the black community. Now, you have done nothing other than the crime bill, which put
Oh, God.
tens
Jordan.
of thousands
Jordan's here.
of
Jordan Brown.
black men,
Clinton's
mostly in
control.
jail.
All right, let me,
You know
let me
what?
Clinton's
let me ask
controlling
Vice
the
President
mention
Biden.
Joe
Look at what's
Biden.
happening with the voting right
I
now.
mean,
Let me ask
They
Vice
remember
President
that you
Biden.
treated them.
the
very,
entire
very badly.
apparatus
Just
is
take a look
just-
at what's happening out there.
Vice President Biden,
It's
let me
just
give you a
wild.
chance to respond within this context.
The-
Crime
the
bills
Democratic-
that were supported in
the
80s and
political
90s
Democratic
contributed
apparatus
to the incarceration of tens of
is
thousands of young black
strange.
men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession.
Like, it's kind of like
Their sons,
with the
their
DNC, you
brothers,
kind of
their
feel like
fathers,
it's a
their
machine
uncles,
that
whose
puts up a
families are
human
still to this
being
day, some
to
of them
represent their
suffering the
views.
consequences.
Republican
So
Party,
speak
it's
to
kind of
those
like, you
families.
got
Why should
Turtle
they
Mitch,
vote?
and then like
One
shit's
of
just
the
wild
things
back
is
there. I
that
don't
in
know.
the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs.
I'm
and
gonna
how
give
to
all
deal
these
with
people a
drugs. It was
like in the
mistake.
comments. By the
Yes, thank you,
way,
everyone, for joining us.
Particularly the
You guys
portion on
have been
cocaine.
fucking
That's why I've been
phenomenal.
arguing that, in fact, we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense.
Did you see that massive drug bust in New York
across
City?
The board.
No.
Massive
That's what we
weed
should
bust.
be spending money on. That's why I set up drug courts.
It was
which are
like
never
what happens
funded
when I get a
by
bonus at
Republican
work and I go to the
friends.
weed store afterwards.
They should
and
not be going
people
to
get
jail
locked up for
for
life
a
still
drug
in New
or
York
an
City.
alcohol problem. They should be
De
going
Blasio-
into treatment.
Bro. And
That's
Cuomo.
what we've been trying
Some
to do.
super
That's
progressive
what I'm going to
motherfuckers
get
locking
done, because
people,
I think maybe
throwing
the
people in
American people
cages
have now
with this.
seen
for a little
that, in
weed.
fact, it
Not
was
for
a mistake
guns,
to
but
pass
for
those
weed.
laws.
Because
For
we're gonna
weed,
we're gonna
dude.
take all
We're
those
not in
people
the
off the
crime
streets.
But why
whose
didn't he get
primary
it done?
job
See,
is to get
it's
illegal
all
guns
talk,
off the
no
streets of
action
New
with
York
these
City. But we
politicians.
got to make sure we
Why
get that
didn't he
butt.
get it done?
Word.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yo,
when
Paul
I become
Castillo
president.
said,
Hey.
Vice
yes!
president, along with
Yes, sir.
That's
Thanks for
Barbara
streaming,
Paul.
boys.
For 8 years.
What's up, my G?
Why didn't you get
CNN,
it done?
Paul.
You had 8
That's Barbara
years
Paul?
to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get
You
it
know
done.
that means, like, I
because
gotta go to Barbara
you're
Paul
all
now. We gotta
talking,
make a
no
date,
action.
man. What's
We got a lot
up?
of
For
prisoners.
weed, bro. For
We
weed.
got
38,000
I saw that shit on
prisoners.
Facebook
got
and the
nothing
Twitters
done.
the other day.
38,000 prisoners
Some,
were
like,
released from federal prison.
police chief from
We have-
whatever
there were over
NYC
1,000
precinct
people
was
who
like
were
showing
given
pictures of
clemency.
all this weed, and I was
We
like,
make-
bro,
in
that's
fact,
like
we're the ones that put in the
a few
legislation
ounces,
saying
like,
we can
and most
look
of it
at
was in
pattern
like
and
eighth
practice of
bags
police
and shit. I'm like,
departments,
come
what they're
on,
doing,
man.
how they're
It looks like the
conducting
shit I bought at the
themselves. I
store
could
the
go
other
on,
day.
but we
Which
began
I didn't
the
buy any from the
process.
store
We
because of,
began
you
the
know,
process. We lost
the
an
pile,
election.
but-
That's why I'm running to win
It's
back
2020,
the election and
bruh.
change
What's
this
up,
terrible
Paul?
policy.
I
Quick
just
response,
asked.
and then we're
I
gonna
just
move
asked
on.
Caleb
you
says,
a
I'm
question.
enjoying y'all's
Why
more than a man
didn't
that
you
claps
do it
every
in the
time he
8
talks
years, a short
and a
time
man
ago?
that can't
Why
complete a
didn't you
whole
do it? You
sentence
just said, I'm gonna do
coherently.
that, I'm gonna
That's
do this.
that's about what's up, bro.
Mostly black young men
Caleb.
in prison. Now you're saying you're going to get.
Man, I
you're
gotta
gonna
hang out with
undo
Caleb
that.
again. I miss
Why
Caleb.
didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama.
And
You
Jordan.
know why, Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President Biden,
Jordan
and then we're
and
going to move on
Caleb.
to the next
Both,
section.
again, I don't know if we
Republican
talked about it on the
Congress.
podcast, but congratulations to your beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful new
That's the
baby.
answer.
Well, you gotta
Okay.
talk-
Oh,
you
wait,
gotta
what
talk
happened?
them
There was a
into
massive
it,
pause there.
All right,
Joe. Into it.
we're going to move on to our next
What's going on?
section.
Like I
which
did
Did we
is
hear some muted
criminal
weirdness?
justice reform. I had
Okay.
to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen,
did
we're,
what we
we're running out of
already done.
time, so we got to get on
But to finish my
climate
thought, I
change,
love you
please.
both.
Climate
both have
change.
very different
Yes.
visions on
Okay.
climate
Here we go.
change. President Trump, you say that environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs. For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we
So,
have the Trillion Trees program. We
I
have so
think
many
that-
The Trillion
different
Trees
programs.
program.
I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air.
Whoa,
We
what
have the
happened here?
best, lowest number in carbon emissions.
I think
which
green
is a big
infrastructure
standard that I
projects to
notice
create
Obama
jobs
goes
is a
with
good
all the
thing, you know what I'm
time.
saying? I don't
Not
know about
Joe, I haven't heard
but
Joe use
not
it.
entire
for
buildings
federal
and shit like
government.
that,
Represents
but
or means, but I haven't heard Obama use it. And
I want
we
the
have
market
the
to
best
support green
carbon
energy.
emission numbers that
But
we've
green
had
energy
in
has to be
35
profitable before
years
it can-
under
I
this
wouldn't- before the market can take
administration.
hold.
We are
Being,
working so well with
um,
industry, but
not
here's what we can't
supplemented
do.
by- what do they
Look
call
at
that?
China. Filthy it is. Look
Filthy
at Russia.
China is.
What do they
Look
call
at
that? Not a
India.
stipend,
It's
not a supplement.
Filthy. The air is filthy.
Oh my, subsidized,
The Paris
yes.
Accord,
A
I took
subsidy.
us
I
out
wouldn't mind
because we
that,
were
you
going to
know
have
what
to
I'm saying?
spend
No. Well, the
trillions
Obama
of dollars, and we were treated
administration
very
tried
unfairly.
to,
When they
like,
put
have
us
their
in
own
there,
program
they
and
did us a
stuff,
great
and, like, they
disservice.
supported some
They were
businesses
going
and
to take
stuff, and
away
they-
our businesses.
they all kind of went
I will
bankrupt.
not sacrifice
Not to take away the
tens
validity
millions
of what
jobs,
the
thousands
aspirations
and
were.
thousands
Yeah.
of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair.
I also
China
think
Paris
doesn't kick
depends
in
on how
until
many people at
2030.
the end of this
Russia goes
pandemic
back to a
don't have
low
a job for
standard,
real. You
and
know
we
what I'm saying?
kicked
Because
in
that
right
would-
away. It would have
that
been,
would shift
would
how
have
you know
been,
when
it
we
would have
talked about the
destroyed
Green
our
New Deal. That was like
businesses.
the one thing that I bought
ready?
into. It was
We
like
have done
like
an
giving people
incredible
jobs who
job
need jobs.
environmentally.
And if you have
We
10
have the
times as
cleanest
many
air,
people
the
now
cleanest
who
water,
need jobs
and the
than need
best
when we
carbon
first talked about
emission
it, I
standards
wouldn't
that
be
we've
opposed
seen
to a
in
government
many, many years.
program to invest in green
Vice
infrastructure
President
to
Biden.
give those
destroyed our
people jobs
industries.
until a
Vice
market
President
was
Biden, 2
created
minutes to
in
you,
which they could be
uninterrupted.
employed in the private sector. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But that would not be my ideal way to get there.
Word.
But
It's like if we can have some kind of system
yes,
where the federal government could find, quote unquote, jobs that needed to be done
yes,
and hire people at whatever fucking ridiculous cost and benefit package or whatever it is to go do those things that need to be done but
Yeah.
that haven't been done.
the infrastructure projects.
Word. Stuff like that. That would be good. Like, but I'm not just saying like
Just
limit
Digital
it.
Infrastructure
Just
Week.
like some city goes, yo, all of our shit needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And we fucked it up enough that we can't do it. Federal people come in and give some of our people jobs to come fix this
Yeah.
because we can't. because we suck.
What it does, it will create
Especially after Corona, we have no
new
dollars.
good-paying
We can't
jobs.
fix our own
We're
cities
gonna
because we have no
invest
dollars
in,
because
for
we closed all of our
We didn't have any
businesses down.
dollars.
We have no dollars.
We went into this pandemic
50,000,
broke.
50,000,
We
had no
hell
dollars.
of
Then
broke.
we really have no dollars.
on our highways so that we can own the electric car market of the future.
The
In
electric
meantime,
car market
China
of the
is
future,
doing that.
you can't
We're
take
gonna
that
be in a
away from
position
Elon,
where
bro.
We're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing
Did you
billion
see that
buildings,
I have
Bill
Elon
Gates-
Musk
2
things.
million existing
Sorry, go ahead.
homes,
Yeah,
and
well,
retrofit
Bill
them
Gates,
so
like,
they
I
don't
know was
leak
in
as
some
much
interview
energy,
and he was
saving
like
hundreds of
talking
millions
about
of
how
barrels of
electric
oil
semi
in the
trucks
process
were
and
like
creating
not feasible, and he's like, I don't
significant
think that it
number
can be
of
done. And then Elon
by
Musk
the
like
way,
quoted
like,
him, and he
fuck
was
you,
like,
dude, I could totally do
we're
that.
already doing it. He's like, we already do that. Like I already have electronic fucking semi trucks that are operating in California.
talk
Eat
to
my
me
asshole.
about
Like
this.
yeah, it's like he literally doesn't know what he's talking about. So funny.
Oh my god.
My plan
Elon Musk, dude. I have my buddy at work who is a conspiracy, like, he's my go-to conspiracy guy. I asked him the other day, I was like, please tell me that there is a conspiracy theory that I can get behind that says that Elon Musk is an alien sent here to give us like all this miraculous technology that he's
Right.
given. Apparently it doesn't exist. So we need to start
Oh.
that shit. That's all I'm saying.
You don't name your kid something like that if you're not an alien.
You know, if you look
Word.
at
Yeah,
this,
that's
as
coordinates or
environmental
something. And
development,
whatever
AOC
language from
plus
whatever
3.
planet he comes from,
They
that's
know nothing.
coordinates.
Whatever planet
They
he comes
know
from.
now.
Yes.
I mean, she's
Okay,
got
so
good
you've
lines.
bought in.
There's
Elon Musk
surging
is an alien.
documents on planets
And they're
all
all
over the
hopping
galaxy,
through hoops
and
for
now that it's
AOC
written
plus
down,
3.
they're finally
Look,
going to be able to come here. It's 2020,
plan
and that's why it
costs
happened
$100
this year.
billion.
Is because
If
it's
we had the
2020.
best year in the
December,
history of our country
aliens from
for
Elon
100
Musk's
years,
planet. We're
we
calling
would
it now.
Not even come close to a number like that.
Thank you so much
When he
for
says
this.
That's
I
the
needed
finale
this.
to
they want to
2020.
take buildings down because they
been a
want to
rough
make
week,
bigger
bro, and I
windows
needed
into
this.
smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen.
Green New Deal.
And
Look at
this
that
wasn't
face, bro.
done by smart people. This wasn't done by
This wasn't done by
anybody.
smart
Frankly,
people.
I don't even know how it could be good
All right.
politically. They want to spend
All right.
$100 trillion.
So-
That's their real number. He's
The
trying
Green
to say
New
it was
Deal,
it's $100
on the whole,
trillion
is a not a good-
They
not
want to
good.
knock
Oh,
down
man.
buildings.
Like a
and
year
build
ago,
Concept,
probably.
I'm all right with.
We had like
small
an episode where at least
windows.
half of the
And
episode
many
we
other
spent
things.
on the
Okay.
Green
Many
New
other
Deal.
Let me have the vice
And
president
it is-
respond,
like I
said,
and
the
we're running
one
out of
good
time, and we
thing
have a
we
lot
could
more
You'll
questions.
kind of
destroy
agree
our
on
country.
was
So let's hear
like
from
the
the vice
recreation
president.
of the
I have a
Civilian
number more
Conservation
questions. I don't know
Corps,
where he comes
and but
I don't know where
that's
he comes up
that
with
is
these
about
numbers.
it. You know,
$100 trillion. Give me a break.
$100 trillion.
This plan
Give him a
was-
break, man.
This is plan endorsed by every
Give me a break.
major,
Give my bladder
every
a break.
major environmental group and every labor group. Labor, because they know the future lies. The future lies in us being able to breathe, and they know they're good jobs in getting us there. And by the way, the fastest
also
growing industry
unions
in
are
America
largely
are-
democratic
is-
as far as
is
politics
the
and
electric-
voting goes.
Excuse me.
So that's not to
solar
be
energy
discounted.
and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer.
And I
windmills.
don't think
It's the
unions are a
fastest
bad thing
growing
on the whole.
Jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages, $45-50 an hour. We can grow and we can be cleaner if we go the route I'm proposing.
Give me a prevailing
President
wage.
Trump, please
We are
respond, and then I
energy-
have
we
some
are
follow-up.
I'll do
energy
that for a
independent
prevailing
for the
wage,
first
straight
time.
up.
We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are energy independent. I know more about wind than you do. It's
I
extremely
know more
expensive.
about wind than you do.
Kills all the birds. It's very
It kills all the
intermittent.
birds.
Got a lot
That's
of problems,
funny.
and they happen to make the windmills in both Germany and China. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes coming up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a scientist.
Solar.
Well, and like
I
in
love
some
solar,
places,
but
wind
solar
energy
doesn't
is
quite
viable,
have
but
it
you
yet.
need so many
It's not
windmills
powerful
to
yet
do anything
to really
like
run our
productive,
big,
you
beautiful
know.
factories that we need
Wind
to
energy is
compete
rad
with the world.
in-
So
False.
it's all a
I love
pipe
wind
dream.
energy.
As
But
like
you know what
same
we'll
thing as
do?
like a supplement,
We're gonna have
you
the
know.
greatest economy
Can't
in the
power
world.
your whole
But
country
if you
off
want to
wind
kill
energy. Not
the
this whole
economy,
country off wind
get
energy.
rid
It's
of
Nuclear,
your
bro.
oil industry. You want. And what about fracking?
Balls
All right,
is-
let me,
now
let
we
me,
Elon,
let
definitely
me
not
allow
from
Vice
this
President
earth.
Biden to
I
respond.
just
said
wait,
that?
Paul.
fracking.
Just wait
said
till
it.
Neuralink
I did
takes over.
show the
Word.
tape. Put it on your
I
website.
know what you're talking
Put it
about,
on.
Paul.
Put it on the
100%.
website. The fact of the matter is,
Show
he's
the list.
flat lying.
Would you
Flat-
rule out banning fracking?
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer we need
What's the answer, Joe?
other industries to
Oh.
transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking. capture the emissions from gas. We can
That's
do
something
that, and we can do that by
that's something
investing
that
money
actually
and doing it.
Dan
It's a
Crenshaw has
transition
even talked
to
about.
that.
I have one
Carbon
more
capture
question in this
technology
part, and
as
then we
opposed
have-
to
He
like
was against
converting to green
fracking.
energy.
He said it. I will
So
show that to you
that's-
tomorrow.
That's viable
good.
across the aisle.
Against
I'll give
fracking
Joe Biden
until he
employment for
got the
that. That's
nomination,
viable
went to
across the aisle.
Pennsylvania, then he said, but you know
Jordan,
what, Pennsylvania,
Jordan
he'll be
Brown.
against
I
it.
do
Very
love
soon
the way
because his
Trump
party
says China.
is totally against it.
Fracking on federal
love
land.
the way
No
China.
fracking
You
and
said-
or oil on
you didn't say
federal
Let
land.
me ask
I
this
love
final
it.
question in this section.
No
and then I
fracking
wanna
and
move
oil
to
on
our
federal
final
land.
section.
Yep.
Swags.
President Trump, people of color are much
I mean,
more
on
likely
federal
to live
land,
near
like,
oil
that makes sense to me,
Public
though.
lands and
chemical
shit.
Like when you
plants.
say that,
In
federal land,
Texas,
yeah,
there are
no, I get
families
that.
who worry
Yeah.
the plants near them are
Donald
making
Trump,
them sick.
that administration
Your
has been
administration
trying
has
to
rolled
sell
back
off chunks of
regulations
The
on
public
fucking
lands
Pebble,
to allow
yeah,
people.
Pebble Mine, bro.
Why should these
Exactly.
families
Listen to the
give
Meteor
you
podcast.
another
You learn
4
all
years
about
in
that
office?
shit.
Exactly.
The families that we're talking
Hunters be
about
fighting
are
against that shit.
employed heavily, and they're making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made.
More money.
If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, for Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater the percentage gain.
Why can't
than it
we all
was
just be
under-
Americans?
in 3 years than it
And
was
understand
under
that there's certain
8
communities
years
that need like
of
help
the
getting to
2 of them,
getting
to
there.
put it nicely. 9 times more. Now, somebody lives. I have not heard the numbers or the
I
statistics.
can't wait till Joe
statistics
Biden
that you're
responds and
saying,
he's like, what about
but
all
they're
these people
making
who've
a
lost all their
tremendous
jobs in the
amount of
last
money.
X amount of months?
Economically, we
That's
saved
definitely
it,
what
and I
he's gonna
saved it
say.
again. a
Wait
number
for
of
it,
months
wait
ago
for
when
it.
oil was crashing because of the pandemic.
Employment isn't so
We
good
saved
now.
it.
Something
We got,
like that.
say what you want
Yeah.
about relationship. We got
Look at
Saudi
his smile, he's
Arabia,
waiting for it.
Mexico, and Russia to cut back way
Hour and a
back.
half.
We saved our
Oh, yeah,
oil
let's
industry,
just go ahead and
and
close to
now
the
it's
end now.
very
Let's just
vibrant
go ahead
again.
and
And
All right.
everybody has very
keep
inexpensive
touting how
gasoline.
good
Remember,
Vice
our relationship is
President
with Saudi
Biden, your
Arabia.
response, and then we're
Let's
gonna have a
fuck the
final question
Saudis.
from
That's
both of
tight,
you.
bro.
response is that those people live on what
hate
they call
that.
fence lines. He doesn't understand this.
They live on
live
fence lines.
near chemical plants that in fact pollute, chemical plants and oil plants and refineries that pollute. I used to live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware.
Claymont,
And
Delaware.
All the more oil refineries in Marcus
Delaware,
Hook and
number
the
one
Delaware
tax
River
haven
than
of the
there
United
is
States.
Any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turn in the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people
Word?
in my state were dying
What, in
and
like
getting
1930?
cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it
probably
doesn't matter
relatively
what you're
true.
paying them. It matters how you keep them safe. What do you do? And you impose restrictions
Oh,
on
he's
the
76
pollutants,
or like-
the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close
It
down
falls-
the oil industry?
It falls.
Would you close
it
down the
falls-
oil
By the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes. I
Oh,
will
that's a big
transition.
statement.
What are
It
you
is a
gonna-
big statement because I would
Yeah, the
stop
transition
that?
plan for
because
the oil
oil to
the
industry.
oil
what?
industry pollutes.
From oil to
significantly.
what, though?
Here's the deal.
Bro.
That's a
You
big
can't do that.
statement.
Well,
Nuclear
Thank
and get
you.
the fuck out.
T-Dog,
Because
bro.
it has to be replaced by renewable energy.
He got
over
him.
time.
Like
He
what?
wasn't supposed to
Over
answer that
time.
question.
And I'd
Yeah.
stop giving to the oil industry. I'd
Ah.
stop giving them federal subsidies. You
Why do
won't
we
give federal
have a
subsidies to the
pedophile
gas
running for
industry,
office?
to the- to
Who
like
said
the
that?
solar
Jordan?
And wind.
Damn.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do give
All
it
right.
to solar and wind.
Caleb
says
That's
the
maybe
gas
the
industry
biggest
will not
statement
go
in
anywhere,
terms
no
of
matter
business. That's
what.
the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
Unless,
what he's
of
saying
course,
is
we
he is
run
going
out
to
one day.
destroy
What's that?
Ooh,
the
Caleb
oil
says the gas
industry.
industry won't
Will you
won't
remember
go
that
anywhere unless we
Texas-
run out
will
one
you
day.
remember that
Almost
Pennsylvania- Okay.
everything
Vice
we
President
enjoy,
Biden, let me give you
need,
10
look
seconds
at,
to respond,
touch
and then I
is
have to
made
get to the
of the
final
oil
question.
and
Vice
gas
President.
industry. I think
Troll
people
it.
don't
Takes
realize
everything
the
out of
importance
context.
of
The
oil
point
and
is,
gas
look,
industries and what it
we have to
contributes to.
move toward
100%.
A net
Even like
zero
all of our
emissions.
neoprene
All
is petroleum
plastics.
First place to
based.
do
Yeah.
that by the year
Oil-based.
2035 is an energy
Caleb, bro.
reduction by 2050.
That's
Come
an
in action.
extremely
All right.
good take,
One
Caleb.
final
Get
question.
China
to vote.
Extremely
No,
good
we're
take,
finished
buddy.
with
Is
this.
he
We
going
have
to
to
get
move on
China?
to
No,
our
we're
final
finished with
question. We
this.
have to
I'm
move
gonna
on
We're
to our
finished
final
with this. We're
question.
moving
to
on.
Make China abide by what they agreed to.
All right,
That'll
this
cost you
is
$1
about
trillion.
How are you gonna
leadership,
make
gentlemen.
another country
And
do
this
anything?
first
I don't
question
want this
does
to
go
end, bro.
you,
This they need to keep
President
going.
Trump.
China owns
Imagine
all of
this
our
is your
money. How are you going to
inauguration
make
day.
them do anything?
What will you say in your
That's so
address
stupid.
to Americans who did not vote for you? You'll each have 1 minute, starting with you.
1
We
minute.
have to make a country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China.
The China
Now we're
plague.
rebuilding it, and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, etc. But I will tell you, go back.
Go back.
Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting calls from people that were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We
They
had
call
the
me. They're
best
not usually
black
people that call me.
unemployment numbers in the history of our country. Hispanic, women, Asian, people with diplomas, with no diplomas, MIT graduates, number
Hit
one in the
all
class.
the voting
Everybody had the
demographic
best
categories.
numbers. And you know what? The other side
Who else am I
wanted to get
polling low
together.
with?
They wanted to unify. Success is going to bring us together. We are on the road to
Hola,
success.
mi amor.
But I'm cutting taxes.
Come say
and
hi on
he
the
wants
live stream.
to raise everybody's taxes, and he wants to put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you
Come
will
over here,
have a
give me some
depression
sugar,
the
baby.
likes of which you've never seen. Your
Carolina
401ks will go to
Hi
hell,
to Caleb and
and it'll be
Jordan.
a
They're
very,
watching.
very sad day for this country.
All right. Vice President Biden, same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say,
Good.
I'm an American president. I represent all of you,
Thank
whether you
you.
voted for me or against me. And I'm going to make sure that you're represented. I'm going to give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to
have
choose
hope.
science over fiction. We're going
Science
to choose
fiction-
hope over
I mean,
fear.
it's science over
We're
fiction.
going to choose to move forward.
blend
because we
the
have
two.
Enormous opportunities.
please.
Enormous
Starship Troopers.
opportunities to make things better. We can grow this economy. We can deal with the systemic racism.
Grow
At
it.
the same time, we can make sure that our economy is
give me some of
being
that sugar.
run and moved and motivated by
It's not that kind of
clean
stream, bro.
energy, creating millions of new
We don't have
jobs.
a license for that.
And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I said at the
Caleb's like,
beginning,
tell Carolina I
what
want
is
some of
on
that
the
cooking
ballot
one day.
here is the character
That's
of
my
this
cooking,
country.
bro.
Decency,
secret squirrel shit.
honor, respect, treating people with dignity, making sure that everyone has an even chance. And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been getting it the last 4 years.
All right. I
The
want to
first
thank
time
you both
we've heard
for
a
very
closing statement
robust
from a
hour and
presidential
half
candidate
fantastic debate.
since
Really
the presidential
appreciate it.
debate
President
started.
Trump,
Congratulations,
former Vice
guys. You
President
did it.
Joe Biden. Thank you to Belmont University for hosting us tonight. And most importantly, thank you to those watching tonight. Election Day is November 3rd.
Wrong, Brown.
Don't forget to vote. Thank you, everyone. and
Alex,
great-
bro,
Thank you.
what is up, dude?
Man.
Miss you, brother.
Okay. Do you want to do some immediate takes of what?
100%.
Of
Let
the
me go
debate?
back. Let me change up the live stream again. Back to our standard. Oh no, the Ocasio isn't down. Y'all hang out. Look at Donovan's beautiful face for a second.
What's up, guys? So the debate just ended. The candidates are coming back up, or not the candidates, but their wives are coming back up on stage. Joe Biden has a mask that matches her dress, which is kind of fucking cool. You
That is
know,
kind of cool, right?
it's okay. So
So, okay.
I ran into like a similar issue the last time this happened. I get Melania still like has a cough, so that's why she has a mask on.
She still got a cough?
I heard that maybe 2 days ago. I heard
Oh,
that.
shit.
And that's why she hadn't been traveling with him. I do think that it's weird, though. Presumably, Joe Biden and Joe Biden are living together during this time because they're married.
Well, that would kind of make
So,
sense. You know what I mean? Because they are married. But is Trump and Melania living together? What are we talking about here?
And I guess it might just be less convenient to come on stage, take the masks off, take the picture, and then put them back on to go off stage. But it just seems weird. Do you know what I'm
Oh.
saying? Like,
As far as like them coming up to the stage
just
with
for the
mask and
pictures
stuff?
at least, and then to put them on and walk off stage. Like, it's absolutely a publicity thing. It's 1,000% a publicity thing to show that, in contrast to Donald Trump, they're wearing a mask. He is not. Melania only is because of, what had happened
Yeah,
a few
because
weeks ago.
Trump already said at the beginning, he's immune, bro.
Yeah,
That's where we at.
I'm immune.
That's where we at.
I'm immune.
So we can't hear that, by the way. FYI. So if it's distracting, you can take your. I just keep hearing all these
We will-
handshakes
oh,
and
they
shit like
can't
that. No,
okay.
not anymore. I showed that off.
Cool.
Yeah, for some reason, it's funny. I can't bring up the main cam for some reason. So I'm on the fly right now, jumping back and forth between my cam, your cam.
Oh.
But that's cool. I got you.
Whoops.
I'm Jamie. What's up?
So,
Immediate thoughts. Where you at on? How do you think Trump? Obviously, he couldn't be belligerent, right?
right.
So what are we thinking?
This one was better than the other one. This debate was miles better than the other debate. Still not great because I mean, if you were here for most of the time, there was a fair bit of lying on the part of Joe Biden, which I found very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of standard.
Yeah.
For one, this is the first time we've been sitting here to be like, no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit too. That's bullshit too. Usually we're live tweeting this stuff, and Alex, we're like, oh yeah, fucking C-SPAN, what's up? Oh, there's so many more comments. I fell behind Larry Dixon. Yo, we in there. After debate shots.
After debate, Josh.
Caleb's like, I think yes. Don's got to drive home, but like,
I got this beer cracking.
I'll ram this beer real quick. Like, Don's got that beer. What's up?
Cheers, Larry. Thank you guys for joining us.
Larry, I think we are doing theater. Preach, 100%. You guys got a little echo. Oh, fuck me. Thank you, Alex. Hopefully I can fix that and post that at this point.
It might. We have your headphones on. I don't know if that's part of it at all. I was going to say, I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
100% that's got something to do with it.
Again, I'm going to unplug this. Is that going to do anything?
Nope. No, you good. Boom.
I don't know. We'll do it. I don't know. We'll do it.
Anyways.
Any more comments that you want to address there? So you can even like pull them up on the thing if you.
Oh yeah, of course I can. Oh yeah, of course. This is it's 2020. We have the technology. We out here live streaming.
Yes.
Echo. Dude, that was probably when I put my headphones down. I fixed it.
Boom.
Alex,
I'm sure that it's the headphones.
you demand because I. Yeah, there you go. Welcome to being a producer. That's great.
Welcome to being a producer.
Oh shit! Now I need my other thing back. I just want to say my thoughts.
Yes.
From the debate, right? There was that. This was. I don't know really what I expected. But this is kind of. I don't know if I could say it was what I expected. But I'm glad it's what I got. I wish the first one was like this.
Yes.
You know, I think I don't feel like it looked like there was a moment or two that you can capture throughout the whole thing where one of them was trying to talk and their mic was off. But for the most part, I think the threat of having a mic that could be muted. Because we went into this thing, they talked about it before the whole thing started. I watched a little bit of it before we started streaming. That like mics will be muted during their 2-minute responses and stuff like that. But after that, it's all fair game. But I think the shot off the bow, if you will, the warning about like we could mute your mics, that I think held them a little bit back. Either that or Trump learned something from the last debate. I'm not sure I understand which is which.
Yeah. So let's see, this is what I have in mind. I appreciated the moderating was better, right?
Yeah.
I think because there was like that tool there. I'm gonna give Zeke an audio message right now.
Word.
He just texted me. We just finished the one on Facebook, Zeke. We weren't able to get it going on YouTube, but we are actually doing a reaction right now. Me talking to you, giving you this voice message is live on the reaction. So when you watch us on YouTube, you're going to be able to see it.
That's right.
It'll be on YouTube later soon. I'm not going to put calling on a timeline, but very soon.
It'll be up tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
So tomorrow, I apologize that we weren't able to get it on YouTube, but our next live streams for the next episode should be on YouTube.
Word.
That's
100%.
There you go, Zeke. 100%. Okay, so so
I played around with the idea of like calling Zeke at some point through the podcast just so we can get on.
We should have done it. So let's see. What was I? Okay, so the moderating was better.
100%.
The back and forth was better. Like it seemed like it was, and maybe because of like what you were saying, the threat of the mic being turned off. But the back and forth that they had seemed better. It was cleaner. There wasn't as much interrupting. Like there was
way cleaner.
President Trump would still like take the time, like you were saying. You know, like that's just kind of how he does. Like he would take it over and be like, no, I'm going to keep going like this. But
you can't take this from me.
Right, but it wasn't.
You can't take this from me. Right,
it wasn't.
It wasn't like unruly and belligerent like last time.
No.
And that was refreshing. I will say that much.
Yeah.
That was refreshing. I will say that.
Okay. Substantively. Given the fact that we talked about this earlier today, and because we were texting back and forth, and due to a conversation I was having at work, I really quick went over to the Washington Secretary of State's website and found the voting numbers and stuff like that for where we're at as a state now. And we're about 25%. Early voting in.
People that have already voted.
Yes. Now, do you think there was anything in this debate substantively, like something that might have? Because have you voted yet?
No.
Okay.
No, we have our ballots, but we haven't voted yet. No, I don't think there was anything in this debate that is gonna will. What? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. What do you?
Still echoing.
Still echoing.
Interesting. Let's see. Yep. And boom. This should fix the problem right there.
Okay.
Alex. Alex been sitting here reaching out, and I didn't even say what's up. Again, much better
Well,
for a second.
hopefully- Yeah, so hopefully that one fixes it. Let us know. Obviously, this is our first extended live stream, so there will be some in and out difficulties and whatnot. But I think for the most part, this was.
Trump wasn't on coke
Not
this time.
Not that we're in and out, but I think for the most part, this is pretty quality. Okay, so no, I don't think there was anything as far as policy goes that is going to change somebody's mind one way or the other. The informed people are going to notice the things that we talked about that we called out as lies. That's not true.
Yeah.
There was, and I think that it speaks volumes that there was way more blatant lying on the side of Joe Biden than there was on the side of President Trump. President Trump lies all of the time, constantly, consistently lying. But tonight, Joe Biden is the one that continued to lie over and over and over again. And I understand, I don't know, like you got to say what you have to say, but I just don't. I don't know. I think that it's a dangerous move to be lying about things that are going to be reported on if you become the president of the United States. They're going to be
100%.
reported on no matter what, but if you become the president, all of this conservative media, starting with the New York Post, right, that they're all going to keep going on this until the end of time. All these people who are still honed in on Crossfire Hurricane and all this shit, it is going to just double down. So I don't...
You think so?
Yes.
Just because all the blatant lies and stuff like that?
If Joe Biden wins and he becomes the president, there is no way that Fox News, the Epoch Times, the New York Post, they are not going to give up on what they are going at now. The Epoch Times is still hammering on Crossfire Hurricane right now. And if Joe Biden becomes, I have at least
you haven't
3 or
brought an
4
issue
issues.
for a minute.
I have at least 3 or 4 issues. I have them in my bag all the time, so I'll give some to you. But they have run at least 3 or 4 issues in the last couple of months that have had headlines regarding Crossfire Hurricane and things that have been coming up. So
Yeah.
that's still happening. That's not going anywhere, especially if he becomes the president.
Yeah. No,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's
all
kind
of
of
this
like-
shit, if he's going to try and have any deals with China, there's no way. You can't trust Joe Biden, President Biden, you know what I'm saying, potentially to make a clean deal with China when he already has fiscal interest in that country. And I'm not saying that potentially Donald Trump doesn't, because that's what Joe Biden was saying this time. It's like, well, this is the guy that's made the money from China. And I don't know about that. What I know is that people have been able to corroborate and confirm money going from the Chinese government and companies involved with the Chinese government to the Bidens. I don't trust him or his family or anybody involved with him to be making a clean deal with China involved with anything. The way that he's talking about trying to, what is he saying? I'm going to make sure they hold up their end of the deal, or whatever the fuck that he was saying about that.
It's all about deals, apparently.
And I don't understand that. I don't understand how you're going to control China. If Donald Trump is here, what are you going to do to control China? Explain that to me. Do you know what I'm saying? And I understand America also has fiscal interest in China. China owns a fuckload of American debt. What are you going to do to control China? That doesn't make any sense, because he sat here and taken shots. I'm not trying to go on for too long, but all the Democrats have sat here and taken shots at President Trump the entire time the trade war was going on. I don't see that trade war happening any different if there's a Democratic president. Maybe it wouldn't happen, but if a trade war is going on, it's going to continue to go on like that. Because if you're the president of the United States, you can't just back down and make yourself look like a little bitch to the rest of the world. And everybody knows that. Nobody's going to react that way. Obama wouldn't have done that. If he was in the office, he would have done very similar moves to
Alex, Epoch Times is run by a cult, bro. Like, I know that, but
that's fine. But the
like,
information,
just because they do doesn't mean like what they report is wrong. Like, I totally get it, bro. Okay, what is y'all's thoughts on proposed gun plans Biden and Harris are willing to go as far as basically
you know what the thoughts
go
are.
ahead and go fuck yourself, basically. Like the thing,
I can't.
The guns. We don't need. Let me ask you this.
Here.
So, we'll get the close-up cam. That's his thoughts on that. Green tip, bro. That is, what'd you say, 4+ at that point?
That's the most that all.
You need a level 4 or minimum.
Level 4.
The news just wants to talk bad about Trump. Rarely he is
That's
seen
the
as
only
good
thing about
stuff.
that.
Trump actually legit called out China on both debates. 100% he did.
Yes.
And 100%. There's a reason, because we got my little Pooh Bear. My Pooh Bear is on here. This is actually my safety net, by the way. It's so that it's guaranteed we show Pooh Bear on the stream, we ain't going to be in China, which means we'll never be on the hit list because we'll never have been in China because we got Pooh Bear on the front. He's our protection, bro. But let me ask you this, because a little bit about foreign policy. They got to do a little bit of foreign policy.
Yeah, before you say this, I don't
Yes.
think there's any doubt, to Alex's point, I don't think there's any doubt that President Trump is the only president, I'm going to say,
Who fucks on China?
for the next 4 presidents, who is going to take a stand this strong on China, call them out on their bullshit, and say exactly what he's saying. And I don't, he's the only person that's gonna be doing that. I don't see a President Biden doing that. I don't see any of that. We didn't talk contrasting tax plans because we were going to talk about it last time and just weren't able to get to it. So we would love, because they talked about that, answering Larry's question. They talked about the tax plans mostly in their town halls, and that's the only reason that we didn't get to it. It's because it was on the last one. But
we talked a little bit about the town halls in the last week's
have notes
episode.
here about
that's up on the YouTube and all the podcast stuff from the actual full episode itself. Do you have? You don't have the timestamps notes on there, right? I can tell them now, but you can see in the on the podcast and in the YouTube, if you look at like the details and stuff underneath the video, it'll have timestamps to all the different things we talked about. And I don't know how much we talked about the taxes and stuff, and because we didn't get too much into those, and I didn't watch them, unfortunately. But as far as like the differences in tax plans. Did Trump have anything other than just like his standard, what he did already with the corporate tax cut and stuff like this? And, did he have any other, tax plan that really like, raised your hackles or something that got your attention?
The one thing that I have written down specifically about Joe Biden's tax plan that he was talking about last time during his town hall was he was talking about reversing the Trump tax cuts, right, as far as corporations goes. And he was saying that Donald Trump cut corporate taxes from 35% down. He said realistically to 21%, right? And then he said he was going to raise them from 21% to 28%. But he said he was going to offer a 10% tax incentive. But if he's raising them 7%, then the tax incentive is really only 3%.
And this is just purely talking about like corporate taxes and stuff like that.
That's what he was saying. Yes, he was saying specifically that the Donald Trump tax cuts cut corporate tax rate from 35% realistically to 21%. He was then saying after he reversed the Trump tax cuts, he was going to offer a 10% tax incentive, right? But he said he was going to raise the taxes from 21% to 28%. So the tax incentive is really only 3%.
Which, as if you were a corporation,
and that's Larry.
You're still
tell me if
take
that
that
makes
3%.
sense. Larry, tell me if that makes sense, because I'm terrible at math. That's what I wrote down. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me that's what you're saying.
Right.
So, but that is what he said because I wrote it down. So I know that I stopped to take a moment to write it down.
And you didn't write anything down in your notes about anything Trump said about taxes? Because basically the way you take notes is you would only take notes if it's something worth, if it's noteworthy, if you will. So if he didn't have anything, that means he didn't really have anything of substance to talk about. And since I didn't watch those, and I still haven't watched those yet. It's been a busy week. We've had some great clips this week. We've had sports clips this week. It's been a great thing. That's going to be continuing. So if you like sports, you're going to see the sports clips every episode. It's going to be one of the first videos out. But yeah. So So what does that say though about Trump? If you think about it, we didn't get too much in the taxes as far as the debate goes.
No.
Right.
No, I
they,
don't
they
think they
didn't.
really
They didn't
talked
even
about
really
taxes.
talk about it.
No, if they did, then we talked through that particular portion.
Yeah.
But.
Now, was there anything of substance that you immediately? I mean, I guess we kind of talked about this, but is there any other like main categorical things of substance that the candidates talked about this episode that you feel like you want to pontificate upon at all?
I wish that.
Are you talking about the 10% surtax?
No, the 10% was Joe Biden was saying that he was going to offer a 10% tax incentive to corporations after he reversed the Trump tax cuts, but his reversal was really only raising it from 21% to 28%.
So you still got
like
an
I said,
increase.
Like I said,
Yeah.
it's really only a 3% if those things work out, and that's why I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Oh, here we go. Constitutional memory time. I'm going to have to look into this, obviously, because I can't quite fulfill this. I can't pull the thing off my top of my head, but Alex is saying corporations as a whole under the Fifth Amendment are
I
unequivocally
think this
immoral.
is going to be way too deep for us to be able to
Yeah, this is
try
going to be
and get
way
into
too deep, buddy.
today.
You might just be planting the seed that I'll be talking about next episode,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Donovan's got the actual, because we have 2 copies, by the way.
Yeah,
We have
I
2
just wanna
copies
pull
of the United States
legitimate
Constitution
verbiage so that I
sitting
can
on our
try
thing
and
here.
Pull what he's pulling from it.
Yeah, and obviously with this little book, there's always the introduction and shit that takes up a bunch of pages. I just want like somebody to publish a legit Constitution that doesn't have. Wait, Larry's like, wait, how? You know, we'll save that one, man, because I forget exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the 10%
That's
surtax,
why
probably.
I'll leave that one to you guys.
We'll leave that
You know
to
what I'm
when
saying?
you're
Like,
on,
so
Larry.
I'll
So
have to-
yeah, throw that in your back
That's-
pocket. And
That's not a statement I'm going to
Yeah.
endorse nor argue
address.
with you on. Yeah.
Wait, how?
Okay, the Fifth Amendment. I'm just gonna read this and then we'll move on
Indeed.
from this because I can't.
I'm curious too much.
That's
I
not
gotta
an
understand.
argument I'm prepared to. Okay.
If Alex is he's like, no, the Fifth Amendment. Okay,
I'm
here we
gonna
go. Let's
the
read it.
Fifth Amendment.
Let's
right?
read it. We got this.
No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual services in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
And all I'm saying is like that's about as loaded an amendment as you can get. So Alex, you're gonna have to come back and explain to everybody what you're talking about here.
That's I can't. We're gonna.
I
Have
don't
to
know
be
about
in
that one,
purpose
dude.
to have
That's
that
a lot.
conversation, sir. So look at that sweet double chin the whole time I'm reading. That's just beautiful. Awesome. I should have read like this.
Anyway, yeah, we might have to raise. We're working on the camera situation, right?
Yes,
It's like a
so-
complicated situation.
When they talked about because they like kind of briefly talked about the articles, the New York Post articles, right, and the hard drive and stuff like that. I wish
Yeah,
they would have
very
also-
briefly.
I wish there would have been a way to swing in like the cover up that happened on it. You know what I'm saying? As far as like social media goes, you
Like,
know,
the cover up in just the
social
cover up
media
in
cover up
okay.
of that article, and the fact that like the communications whatever for Facebook used to work for the DNC and like all this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's the thing, man. Like
They
all got ties.
Lend itself to. Of course, I actually read it. What the fuck do you think this is?
You actually read it?
What the fuck do you think this is?
Welcome to Salt of the Streets,
Yeah,
bro. I
what
know
do
we
you-
didn't get there during your
what do you
episode, but
think
come
this
back.
is?
We'll do it again. We'll read the whole motherfucking thing. Let's do it.
Okay, so, so I wish there would have been a way for him to bring that into, lend to his argument to, what is it, amending Article Section 203 or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I don't.
Section
it's-
230
yeah,
of the
230,
Communications
that's what it is.
Decency Act.
Exactly, yeah. And so, I don't know, man.
But Trump don't know what Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act is. Let's be real.
No,
here,
but
because,
even if
like,
he's not going to talk specifically about Section 230, for him to talk about censorship of conservative views or even anything having to do with opposition to do you know what would have been a good time to bring that up? When they were talking about, and maybe they did because we talked through this section mostly, when they were talking about Iran, involving themselves politically. That would have been, I'm thinking back to Michael Barker, that would have been the best time for him to bring up. Like, if we're talking about interference in an election, when these articles came out for people to understand this situation better based on a hard drive that potentially came from your son, you have social media companies, in one case linked directly to the DNC, that are hindering people's ability to even intake information that might sway their opinion. that seems like an extremely good time to bring that up. So I'll have to go back and rewatch that section, because if that wasn't brought up, then that's a fucking huge fail on Donald Trump's part.
It was definitely, well, the moderator brought it up a little bit from what I understand. Alex says, what do you think of some certain healthcare rights, we should have quotes, I think, on rights, should be specific to those individual states? Let me finish this thought first before we get into that.
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about here is a failure, essentially, of Donald Trump to convey thoughts and ideas about a specific subject.
You're telling my expectations are unrealistic.
That's the problem here. The problem here is that regardless of whatever idea Trump may stand behind, he may be standing, I don't want to say he stands behind, he stands in front of that idea, right? He doesn't necessarily, because that implies a different context, right? So he may be standing in front of this idea so that those of us that are having this conversation can continue to have the conversation, because he's saying some very outlandish shit way ahead of us.
Yeah.
But one of the major problems, and one of the reasons why I won't be voting for T-Dog, is because he is incapable of having such substantive conversations. He cannot relay the conversation that needs to be relayed at the point at which an R is in charge at the top. You know, as far as Republican goes, because at this point in time, my point being that, like, you can't necessarily, like, a Democrat that gets elected as president is not going to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Period. Right? We're going to have a whole new set of conversations, which are going to be terrifying in of themselves. But Trump, as an idea man, as a guy who can sit there and talk about why we have social unrest in Portland, or why we're having these issues, and why he will not bring up Iran at a time and their interference and all this stuff that came out from the intelligence agencies today, why he can't speak to that during a debate, when I think, hands down, regardless of what the quote-unquote ratings are. Well, no, he's just like, they didn't really talk about it.
Oh.
Mind you, we'll have to go back and check.
We were talking
because we were talking during that time. But I have a feeling that he didn't say anything of substance, because he never fucking does. Because he's the worst person to put in charge to convey the ideas that need to be conveyed, to have the conversations that need to be had. He's the worst person to try to do that. He is somebody that gets his foot in the door.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's where the line stops, and then it's game over at that point. And then at that point, it's basically up to people like us. I mean, I guess, if you want to, I'll just say the punditry at large, to have those conversations. You know, he kind of is the snowplow at front that is messy and it throws shit everywhere. But at the end of the day, we can follow up behind him and have the conversations. Unfortunately, it's not like people listen to those post conversations, because he is such an attention-grabbing whore. Yeah, I know. So anyways, it's late, man.
Yeah.
I know. We got to get going. It's 8 o'clock. You got to get home to your baby. This has been a great thing. I should probably switch the camera back to me since I'm on it. It's been a whole new thing, man. This whole night has been fantastic. Thank you guys for hanging out so much. This debate, I mean, it's fun when me and you and, like, during the VP debate, Larry Dixon, like, the three of us were getting into this circle, and it was great over on Twitter. Alpaca_Donovan on Instagram for you. At Salt of the Street on Twitter for you. I am at Big Bird Offie on both those things.
You're doing socials this time.
And I know, I just kind of, like, that's weird. I'm going to see if I can do it. And I am actually on Parler now at Big Bird Offie, so you can find me there because the censorship is legit. I'm still like an egg. I haven't even gotten a picture of myself for this one. So, get on the Parlors. It's a big thing. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don, what you got to say?
That's pretty much it, because you stole the socials from me.
I definitely. Hey, it's the first time in like years.
Hey, that's okay. I'm not gonna complain. Thank you guys. I think this was a big success. We're gonna try and do more stuff like this in the future.
This was so much fun.
It was good. It's gonna be excellent. Watch out the day before Halloween for
Friday.
The Friday before Halloween.
It's my brother's birthday, October 30th. Shout out Chad. Happy birthday, buddy.
Shout out Chad. Watch out then for our pre-show live stream because that's what we're going to be recording. And then it's looking like the episode after that, Larry Dixon's going to be on. So
yeah. At this point, Larry, if you don't know you're on the show that week.
Yeah.
So make time in your schedule.
Yes. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. This was fantastic. Colin, everybody give him a round of applause because he put this whole thing together, the pre-live stream screen and like all of that stuff. Colin did all of those things. So
you want to see it again? You want to see it again? I can show it again. Boom. There it is right there. And just because, add a little music in the background. I'm going to turn it way low so we can close out with some Salty Streets.
And so people can't even see us. It's just the gray screen.
Oh, they can definitely see us.
Oh, they can see us.
They can definitely see us.
All right.
Boom. I meant to go back to the initial. Where's my cursor?
Yeah.
Boom. There we go.
What are we doing here?
There's too many inputs going on. Is what's going on here.
Okay. We'll end this live stream because I don't understand what's happening anymore. So they can't see us. You're a liar.
No. This is the thing. It's delayed because it's live. Here, you want to see yourself in real life? Here
No. Now I don't. Okay. All right. Well, we're done. We're out of here.
We're out of here.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you. Have a good weekend.
Love you guys.